Until today, this was the last time astronauts headed into space out of the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This is Shuttle Atlantis. Its last launch came back in July of 2011 for a 13-day mission to the International Space Station. And today, SpaceX is ready to try again to launch the Falcon 9 rocket carrying the Dragon crew capsule and its two-man crew into space. The mission is designed to take NASA astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley to the International Space Station. This is a test today. They could be there anywhere between 1 and 4 months, depending on how well Dragon does in orbit and the readiness of the next planned launch, right now targeted for August. Well, welcome to our very special program about this historic launch today. I'm so excited to be here. I hope you are as well. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris, and we're here to share today's launch, its mission, its significance for the future of man in space. Well, joining me now is meteorologist Chris Warren. He is at the Space Coast for today's historic launch. And Chris, here we are again, a couple of days later, and weather is going to be the big story, whether or not we're going to be able to do this launch yet again today, and it could come down to the wire.
Yeah, once again, it could come down to the wire, but we know what that wire, that point is, 322, all or nothing. So oftentimes when you look in the history of launches here, and at Kennedy Space Center here we're at Port Canaveral, by the way, but on Cape Canaveral. But the launches in the past have had windows, like so between this time and this time we can launch somewhere in here. Now it's a point in time when launch needs to happen, so we're hoping for a weather window, a point in front and on the backside of the launch where the weather is favorable. So we can take a look right now, kind of lay the land for you. Again, we're at Port Canaveral, and with the help of Matt Safer, my wonderful photographer here, we're going to try to point out exactly where the rocket is. You see where my finger is pointing? Right there. We're about 8 miles away, and what we're told is that even though it looks like, it's just a little dot there on the horizon, we're going to be able to hear it, obviously see it, and even feel it from this location. But when we look now up overhead, we look at what is building over the launch site here. We do have some cumulus clouds right now that have been building, some towers as we look and span the sky. These clouds were just really small, frankly, just about an hour ago, and they are certainly now full of rain. We can see that with the radar. We've been seeing some of the showers developing. We're also seeing that there's the gray bases underneath as well. But looking at the tops, when you see that cauliflower kind of look to the clouds, when it's really crisp and clean, that is the developing stage. And when it gets to its peak, it turns into the mature stage. And then once you start to see some ragged edges of these clouds, that's when we know that they are starting to dissipate, the dissipation stage. But unfortunately right now, these are still building. There are plenty of showers. In fact, we can come over here. And again, we're on top of a parking deck here at Port Canaveral, where the cruise ships would be normally coming in. There's several media members here. This is just one of the many spots media members are coming to watch, hopefully, the launch today at 322. But just looking out over here, this is to the west. So we're looking over the peninsula of Florida. And you can see, actually, if you just look right over here, you can really see right across the water. You can actually see the rain coming down out of these showers. And I'm not looking at a radar right now, but I'm guessing we'll be looking at a little bit of yellow, maybe some orange on the radar right here with these showers that are still building. So as we look at this, as we look at these showers and these storms, eventually, no storms yet, haven't heard any thunder. But Matt, if we look over here at this one, this is another one I'm going to be looking at also, because this is more in the neighborhood of Kennedy Space Center and the launch site, the SpaceX launch site here. That is a building cloud with a building shower underneath that. So that's going to be one of the heavier ones that eventually will be coming through. But Jackie, like you and I were watching on Wednesday, when the forecast was really almost a toss-up. Was it 40% go, 60% go? It's pretty much a flip of the coin at that point. But it really comes to, yes, we could have showers, we could have thunderstorms, but as long as they're over with ahead of time, or if they hold off, that could be a good thing too, because we're looking for that weather window that we need to have this launch happen before our eyes today.
Right, those thunderstorms that are building right now really don't need to worry about that, right? As long as they clear out just in time. And Chris, you know, there was discussion yesterday from the NASA administrator that they were going to consider perhaps scrubbing this ahead of time because it can be stressful for the astronauts if they have too many consecutive days where they lead up to it and then they don't get the launch. Are you surprised at all that we're going forward considering what the short-term models are doing right now?
What I've been hearing, I've been paying attention to a lot of, you know, former astronauts, what I've been seeing them like on the local news or just, you know, what I've been reading is that my guess is they're ready to go. And what I'm sensing too is that, you know, we'll do it. It's a hardy bunch. The perseverance just to sit on their rocket, you know, and be loaded up, ready to go. And you're not 100% sure if it's going to happen. But the patience and the resilience of these astronauts, you know, it's what they train for.
Right.
And when you look at the models, you kind of want to say, ugh, you know, it doesn't look great, and maybe it would be better for everybody to just scrub it today and not go through the whole thing. However, it just takes that one shower that maybe tomorrow looks better, but maybe there's that one shower at launch time, and then you scrubbed it on Saturday when Sunday it was a great all day. There was just that one shower came at the wrong time because it's that one point in time. So all I'm thinking is what I woke up this morning thinking, you know what? Doesn't have to be a perfect day. It's just a window of good weather over 10 nautical miles. So 11 and a half statute miles that weather needs to be good for just that period of time.
Right.
So to me, I'm thinking the story today is getting a weather window. That's what we're going to need to get this off. So, yeah, at first I was thinking, they'll probably scrub it, you know, ahead of time. Wouldn't be surprised. But then the more I thought about it was like, you got to take your chances when you can, you know? I mean, you have to maximize the opportunity to get the launch off, because what if that weather window today was an hour from 3 to 4, and then tomorrow from 2:30 to 3:30 was when all the bad weather happened.
Right, and this time of the year, it's so difficult you just can't pinpoint precisely the exact location of where a storm is going to be and at what time. We can look at a general area and we can say, okay, we have high confidence that there's going to be some coverage of storms in here, but we can't say there's going to be a storm right over Launch Pad 39A at 3:22 p.m. You know, the science just isn't there for that yet.
And I've also heard other people saying, well, the weather's unpredictable. Well, that's not true. The weather is absolutely predictable, but with limitations. Right? So we can predict, you know, I can predict that in 5 minutes it's going to be sunny, that cloud's going to bring some showers, and the models pick up on these things, but the models aren't perfect either.
Right.
You know, we've seen this time and time again that while you get the flavor that there's going to be thunderstorms, there's going to be showers somewhere in there at that time, it's not a guarantee. Even you see these red blobs on the future radar, and unfortunately that's what we've been seeing a lot of here over Kennedy Space Center and Port Canaveral. And what we're seeing is that time and time again, it doesn't work out that way. Maybe it's a little bit farther to the south. Maybe it's a little bit farther to the north. Maybe it's a little bit later or a little bit earlier. So again, I think they just want to kind of roll the dice and hope that they get that weather window.
Yeah, you really do have to take the models with a grain of salt. Thanks so much, Chris. We're going to check back in with you in just a little bit. But we want to take you now back to the middle of this week when the mission was ready to go on Wednesday. And you only have to watch this time-lapse view of the storms that rolled over Florida's Space Coast to know that the return of manned space flights to U.S. soil probably wasn't going to happen. And then 16 minutes, it was just 16 minutes before the planned liftoff of the SpaceX mission, the official word came.
We basically scrubbed due to 3 rules that we were violating. All 3 would have been expected to clear 10 minutes after our T0 time. And those 3 were natural lightning, the fuel mills, and the attached anvil.
Wow, 3 rules there. You could hear it was broken. It came down to just that 16-minute rule, where a 16-minute window where they had to scrub. And had they had the opportunity to go ahead and wait another 10 minutes, they would have been able to do that. But that is not the case this time around. So weather really is a challenge. Earlier today, meteorologist Kelly Cass spoke with Brian Cizek, part of the team helping NASA make the launch call, about the factors that they have to weigh to decide if it's safe to launch.
We're hoping to get Bob and Doug up into space, but it's also our job to make sure they get there safely. But really this afternoon, you guys kind of hit the nail on the head. We're going to be dealing with those afternoon thunderstorms. So hoping that we can get a window right at the launch time. Now, the launch time is a little bit earlier than it was the last attempt on Wednesday, so that might help us a little bit. But still, we're going to have to dodge some of those storms.
And the weather criteria is so specific for a launch, right, because of safety. So can you explain why conditions or what conditions will cause a launch to be scrubbed like we saw on Wednesday?
Sure. So we have a set of 10 specific rules known as the lightning launch commit criteria. Now, obviously, we don't want to be launching through or near a thunderstorm with natural lightning, but we're also trying to protect against triggered lightning. So when you shoot a rocket through the atmosphere, that can actually increase the electric field by up to 100 times. So a cloud that's not producing any natural lightning can still trigger a lightning strike that could, of course, damage the electronics on board the rocket and could put the astronauts and the general public in danger. So we're monitoring those conditions as well to make sure we don't see a triggered lightning strike.
And Brian, times have changed, right, since the early 60s and we first started launching rockets from the east coast of Florida. Tell us about the changes that we've seen.
Sure. We've learned a lot about triggered lightning since the 60s, since the Apollo era. Actually, Apollo 12 was hit by a triggered lightning strike on the way up. Luckily, nothing happened with that one, but there was another incident in 1987, Atlas Centaur 67 was the name of that mission, triggered a lightning strike, and they actually had to abort that mission. So we've learned a lot since then. We've learned a lot about the dangers of triggered lightning since that time. So we have these rules in place to make sure that that does not happen again.
And it's not just about conditions right at the launch site, right?
Right, so we're monitoring the entire trajectory of the rocket as it's going through the atmosphere. So we're looking at that flight path as it's moving downrange, farther away from the launch pad. So right, it's not just right over the pad, it's the trajectory that the rocket is moving on.
And as you know, Brian, when we're talking thunderstorms in Florida, you've got the humidity, you've got the heat. That really makes forecasting a challenge, right? We can't be exact in terms of when these thunderstorms are going to hit or where.
Exactly. Anybody who lives in Florida this time of the year in the afternoon knows that you're going to get thunderstorms almost every day this time of the year. It's just a matter of where exactly they set up, where they're moving towards. They shoot out those outflows, those rain-cooled air that can, of course, trigger new thunderstorms. So there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of small-scale effects to where exactly these thunderstorms are going to be and where they set up.
It really is a lot that goes into the forecasting, and that's why it takes a team of their meteorologists to track the conditions, not just at the launch pad, but also along the flight path as it goes down in case there was some type of emergency where they would have to escape and splash down back into the Atlantic. They need clear enough conditions as well as good enough sea conditions for that to safely occur. So many, many things to continue to keep our eye on. But on the topic of rocket lightning, it's so interesting, isn't it, that rocket lightning can happen outside of thunderstorms. So this is lightning that does not form naturally into the atmosphere. When we think about the clouds and the charged particles in the clouds that then attract that lightning and cause that electrical field to happen. But this happens when the rocket actually lifts off and moves into an electrified field, and that can spark the lightning itself. And that would happen in an atmosphere or in a cloud that would not necessarily produce lightning on its own. I know, kind of a complex thing, but I'm bringing it down to layman's terms for you. And here's some graphics that kind of help you understand that a little bit more too. On the left here, showing you what an undisturbed field would look like. A disturbed field, we see those wavy lines in there showing you some of those changes and those signs that the atmosphere is electrified. And then as that rocket then would take off and lift off, it would help spark that charge, and that would be very, very dangerous. So this is still a test flight and something to consider. And what we're hearing from NASA is that, no risk is ever worth taking. We can try again tomorrow if that's what we need to do. So we want to take a live look now from Kennedy Space Center and show you what's happening in this process as we're continuing to go through the whole pre-flight process. And there you can see this is the arm that allows the astronauts to then board the Crew Dragon capsule. The white area is the capsule itself, and you can see now it looks like that door has been closed, and you can see the crew continuing to do their checks and do everything that they need to do. And I believe the next step then would be to release that arm, and and we'll watch that eventually pull its way away from the Dragon capsule. So this is going to be a minute-by-minute thing. We'll continue to monitor the weather. I know 45 minutes before then, we're going to get another update from them on the weather conditions, and they will confirm at that time if we're going to continue to proceed beyond the 45-minute window. Chris?
Yeah, and Jackie, what we've been watching and seeing here live at Cape Canaveral, the showers are building, and we look right across the water, and that's where the rocket is, and that's where they're expected to launch from, and the skies are pretty gray. When you see the skies gray all the way to the ground, that tells us that we're getting rain coming from these clouds all the way to the ground. But oftentimes what will happen is that can cool the atmosphere if the shower is big enough and strong enough and that can stabilize things. It's 85 degrees right now. It's hot. This air is ready to rise, and it is rising. So we're seeing a few showers bubbling up. Is this a trend? Is this something that's just the beginning of something heavier? Something we're going to explore coming up here. You're watching the Weather Channel.
Yeah. All straight, we ain't stopping, believe me. Go straight till the morning, no lie, we won't wait. And we're taking everything we wanted, we can do it. All straight. Oh, shit.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else, so why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase relieves your worst symptoms, which most pills don't. Get all-in-one allergy relief for 24 hours with Flonase.
Now you can make any morning of the week feel like the weekend with Jimmy Dean Simple Scrambles, made fresh with 2 real eggs, sausage, and cheese, and ready in seconds.
Why don't you put a Sunday morning shine on tomorrow morning's breakfast?
Oh, it's a beautiful day. Oh, I never felt this way before. Give us some more.
3 facts. 1, crude oil is crude. 2, natural gas is pure. 3, Pennzoil is made from natural gas. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil.
We want to support the employees of America's bars and restaurants. So order takeout today, and Bud Light will buy your first round when things reopen. There's a Bud Light there, on us. Find out how at budlight.com/open for takeout.
When it comes to longevity, who has the highest percentage of its vehicles still on the road today? Subaru. When it comes to best overall value, who does IntelliChoice rank #1? Subaru. And when it comes to safety, who has more 2020 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus winning vehicles? More than Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai combined? Subaru. It's easy to love a car you can trust. It's easy to love a Subaru. Get 0% APR financing for 63 months on select Subaru models, now through June 1st.
Where can a healthier heart lead you? For people with heart failure taking Entresto, it may lead to a world of possibilities. Entresto is a heart failure medicine prescribed by most cardiologists. It was proven superior at helping people stay alive and out of the hospital. Heart failure can change the structure of your heart, so it may not work as well. Entresto helps improve your heart's ability to pump blood to the body. And with a healthier heart, there's no telling where life may take you. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or allospirin, or if you've had angioedema with an ACE or ARB. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto. Novartis thanks the heroic healthcare workers fighting COVID-19.
More than ever, we need to help frontline workers get to where they need to be. That's why Citi is working with Lyft to give a free annual Citi Bike membership to eligible critical workers in New York City. It's just one way we're putting our gratitude into action.
Take on me, take on me, take me on.
Every Troy built is tested to make yard work the best work. Troy built, built for life.
More than ever, we need to help frontline workers get to where they need to be. That's why Citi is working with Lyft to give a free annual Citi Bike membership to eligible critical workers in New York City. It's just one way we're putting our gratitude into action.
It's gonna hit town.
Inside the storm, every second counts. Deadline to Disaster, Sunday nights, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 77 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, a mix of clouds and sun. High 82. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Low 59. Winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny skies. High 71. Winds north-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel's special coverage of the SpaceX Crew Dragon launch today aboard the Falcon 9 rocket there. A live look showing you the conditions. We do have some rain showers in the vicinity. We just heard during the commercial break as we're listening to NASA's live feed, which, by the way, every now and then during this program, you'll be able to hear that audio underneath our track. So if you're wondering what that sound is, it's going to be that. And we'll be dipping into that from time to time. But in the commercial break, we did get a weather update saying that so far everything is still a go due to weather conditions, but there will be another decision at T-minus 1 hour and 30 minutes before launch. Of course, launch is set for 3:22 p.m. So we are getting ever closer to a milestone for this year, the liftoff of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket, which will launch the Crew Dragon capsule with 2 astronauts on board into orbit. Now, in the interest of safety during this pandemic, NASA has told people not to turn out to watch the launch. But how far will you be able to see it if you happen to live in Florida? NASA Administrator's Jim Bridenstine has the answer.
Well, I think you'll be able to see it for hundreds of miles. I used to live in Orlando, Florida, which is about 50 miles from the Kennedy Space Center. And when I lived in Orlando, we used to watch space shuttle launches. Of course, at nighttime, you can see them a lot further than during the daytime. A lot of it depends, of course, on the weather. But I would imagine if the skies are clear, people from hundreds of miles away should be able to see this. Especially, we're launching north along the coast. So, you know, if you think about maybe people up in Jacksonville, they should be able to see it pretty clearly.
So that's pretty impressive that you can see it so far away. You know, our meteorologist Chris Warren is a lot closer than hundreds of miles away from the launch site. Chris, you're right there at Port Canaveral, not too far away. Give us an update of the situation of where you are, and are you seeing people around? Have there been a lot of folks that are still coming out despite the warnings to stay away?
SpaceX, just for status.
Well, it is. The weather's been changing minute by minute here, and we've seen quite a few people at the beaches. Where we are, though, in a controlled location here at Port Canaveral. And this is on top of a parking garage. My voice might be echoing a little bit because we're essentially at the top of the stairwell on the top floor. And what we've been seeing change minute by minute is out here. Kennedy Space Center is off to the right, but off in this direction, actually, you can see some of the boats that are starting to line up here. And my guess is that maybe there's a boom or something that has oftentimes there'll be buoys or something, that signs saying you can't go past a certain spot, but there certainly are boats off there in the distance with, beyond that, on the horizon, those are gray skies. We're looking off to the west. We heard the NASA administrator talking about Orlando, which is, he said, about 50 miles in the direction we're looking right now. So these are the showers that we're watching right now. No lightning out of these at the moment, but certainly as we pan the sky, when the gray goes all the way to the ground, that's rain. And these are some pretty healthy showers that we're looking at right now. Again, about 2 hours away from launch. So this isn't necessarily bad news, I would think. And as Jackie and I were watching on Wednesday, the showers that came early actually That's thunder. The showers that came early actually helped stabilize the atmosphere. So, Jackie, right now, again, we're starting to hear thunder, so there's some intense showers. And again, this might not necessarily be bad news, right? We saw this, especially on the visible satellite. After the storms blew up, heavy rain and cold air came down, created a cool pocket of some stable air where we didn't see showers for a while. It's just a few minutes is really all it took on Wednesday to scrub that one.
So, Chris, switching gears a little bit, have you noticed anything new about the astronauts this time around in terms of appearance?
You mean like how they look and all the design of everything and just
Yes.
flat out how cool it is? Is that what you're talking about?
There's been a lot of buzz about this. So one fun fact about this mission that you might not know is that they have some new spacesuits. These are not the orange ones that you were used to, like were part of the launch phase of the shuttle flights. They're white now, and they're one-piece suits that look a lot sleeker. They're actually custom made for each individual astronaut, and Hollywood costume designer Jose Fernandez came up with the suit. He's known for costumes in films like Captain America, Civil War, and Wonder Woman, which those costumes I happen to love. The helmets are custom made using 3D printer technology, and they have built-in microphones. So the new suits, however, will only be used for this launch. They won't be used during the space walks. So, Chris, do you like them?
Yeah, you know what, and also what I heard is that the suits and a lot of the design is to kind of bring the cool back to space a little bit and to help get younger generations excited about space. And I think it's also a reminder, too, Jackie, of the government and private partnership. You know, someone like Elon Musk, who is a big sci-fi fan. You know, a lot of it's inspired by some of that, you know? So, yeah, I think it's neat. I think it's fun. And when you and I didn't mention this when you and I were watching this on Wednesday, but I remember thinking, looking at the video of the astronauts getting into the capsule and thinking, this is what I dreamed of 25 years ago as a kid. You know, that what I thought space travel would be in the future. And I'm sitting there looking at, and it was when they were looking at the seal on the capsule, and they were taking pictures with their, and they all had iPads, and the crew looked out of this world too, right? Yeah,
very futuristic.
I remember thought.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and we know there is no shortcut to quality. And that's why we use nothing but the very best sausage that money can buy. Paint yourself a beautiful morning.
Here's Candace, who works from home and then works from home. But she can handle pickup, even when her bladder makes a little drop-off. Because Candace has poise. Poise under pressure and poise in her pants. It takes poise.
Good morning.
More treatment.
We're going to try something different today.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Dogs bring out the good in us. Pedigree brings out the good in them. Constant hand washing causes hands to dry and crack. Try O'Keeffe's Working Hands. It's America's #1 hand cream for guaranteed relief of dry, cracked hands. Also available in O'Keeffe's for healthy feet. Guaranteed relief for extremely dry, cracked feet.
Guys, figuring out who counts in the 2020 census isn't complicated. Everyone living in your home on April 1st counts. My aunt and uncle who live with us count. My best friend who sleeps over every Friday night doesn't count. My new baby sister, she counts. My mom's best friend who's been living with us, she counts. Our dog, Mr. BB, should count, but he doesn't.
Complete the census online, by phone, or by mail. Shape your future. Start here at 2020census.gov.
Feel like getting back out there? Nissan is ready to help you with a bold, award-winning lineup and great offers. Kick off summer with no payments for 3 months. Plus, we'll cover your payments for up to 2 more months. Or get 0% financing on 13 models for up to 84 months.
Duracell Optimum will be right where you need them today, tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that, day after day. Packaging designed to make storage easier. Duracell Optimum.
Introducing new Voltaren Arthritis Pain Gel, the first and only full prescription strength, non-steroidal, anti-inflammatory gel available over the counter. New Voltaren is powerful arthritis pain relief in a gel. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Little choices make a big difference, like nutritious fruit smoothies. However, you healthy? Naked.
Listen, moms, Hot Pockets are exactly what hungry kids want in a snack. Premium pepperoni, real cheese, and that buttery garlic crust. They're literally stuffed full of deliciousness. Nothing satisfies like 100% real cheese and 10 grams of protein.
Hot Pockets!
With Dish, you get the Hopper. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once.
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, sounds great.
Because more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Dish, tuned in to you.
Is that coming this way? Active tornado warnings in effect.
I wasn't sure that I was going to walk away from the situation.
There just went a house. The roof just get ripped off. We're under fire.
When that came down, I yelled, I don't want to drown in the store. Guys, we've got cars floating here.
Oh my God.
Truly, it was the scariest moment of my life.
Don't miss all new episodes of World's Deadliest Weather and Deadline to Disaster. Sunday nights on the Weather Channel.
Shows back in.
Launch control, Dragon, loud and clear.
Launch control, loud and clear. Stand by for comm check by the chief engineer.
All right, you are listening live to a feed from NASA as we get ready for the Falcon 9 Crew Dragon capsule launch today. That's going to take place at 3:22 p.m. The capsule door has now been closed and sealed as we continue our pre-check and go through all of the necessary instructions and instruments and getting everything ready for that launch today. We just got word about 5 minutes or so ago that we are going to get another update on the weather situation around 1:50 p.m. Eastern time. At that point, they'll make another decision as to whether or not this will continue to be a go. Of course, we were scrubbed on Wednesday due to weather conditions. Well, NASA calls this new era of human space flight, and this could really change the future of space travel as it becomes commercialized. We want to bring in our meteorologist, Chris Warren. I know, Chris, you've been watching weather conditions, but this is really an historic day that could be very telling of what we can expect in the future. Can you imagine what it would be like to commercialize space travel, to be able to get on a rocket and go to space, perhaps on vacation, years and years from now?
Yeah, if you can afford it, it's always going to be in the fine print, right? No, but the fact that it's even a possibility and it's a thought, and I think part of it too is you get to that point where you're sourcing the work that was typically done by the government to private entities that are able to make money on this, drives down the cost for everybody. And the fact that, yes, someone could go up without, formal training, going through, the rigorous training and all the education and everything, the schooling that it takes to become an astronaut, just be able to do that is pretty phenomenal. But what we're dealing with right now, again, it's just hoping it'll lift off today. That's the big thing, hoping launch will happen. Over there, overhead, we're starting to see the anvil, actually. We're seeing the storm off in the distance, but the cloud is over us. It's actually, I think, a matter of minutes now before we get rained on. I can actually see the rain over the water. But you see, if you look up here, if the texture's playing a little bit, there's a little bit, not real obvious mammatus clouds, but a little bit of sinking. So that would be the anvil. And the rocket's not going to go through that. Absolutely not. And then there's the rain as well. That's a concern. So the showers out here, and I want to kind of give you an idea of what's going on right now as well. So the heavy showers going just to the south of us. What I want to show you right here, here's Florida. And remember, it's Cape Canaveral, so think of like Cape Cod. A cape is essentially, it sticks out from the predominant motion of the shoreline here, the dominant trajectory of it. So this would be the cape right there. If you've ever seen a map of Florida, there's the cape right here. We're right about here. And so what we're seeing right now in that direction, we're seeing on the radar a lot of red showing up, right? So we're getting a lot of storms that are getting really close to us, and they're going in this direction. So they're heading toward us, not real fast, but they're heading this way. But also, Matt, real quick, if you go over there, see those big clouds out there? Well, those showers are offshore over here. So we're getting some storms that are building, and those are some pretty big ones. Those are offshore, so you can see a couple of them out there. So we see those out here. But what else is going in the atmosphere? What happens during the day? You get the air to rise, right? So the air, well, we're having a problem with that one. So you get the air, where do you want, okay. So this is much cooler, right? Because it's the ocean. This warms during the day, so this air rises, and then you get the cool air coming in to fill that. And this is what essentially is a sea breeze. That's what happens at the end of the day. The breeze comes in, and we can actually see the water out here moving. So there's a little bit of a breeze, and we've been feeling it throughout the day. So there's some of the breeze, and sometimes it'll be so strong that the storms will form and go this way. The problem is there's a little bit more of a flow coming out of the southwest that's a little bit stronger. So while we're seeing the storms forming here, they might not be moving inland, which is what we'd really hope for. So there's a lot going on, and a lot of it, too, is dependent on the daytime heating and how things play out. So, Jackie, again, we'll see. It's waiting for that weather window, as we've been calling it. And, we'll see what they say when they get that next briefing, the T-minus 1 hour coming up.
Yeah, that is coming up in about 20 minutes or so. Latest forecast from us at the Weather Channel, as we continue to analyze all the data, is that there will be at least some scattered showers and thunderstorms within the vicinity. Now, are they going to be over the launch pad? That is still a question, and it's a 50% chance. It's literally the toss of a dime. You can see the clouds in the background there as we take a look at the top of the capsule and the environment across the region. Our latest short-term models are still showing, though, that this is going to be a risk. So we'll step you through here hour by hour. It's picking up some of the showers and thunderstorms that are developing right now. So that tells me that the models are initializing properly. And so this is not great news to see this on the radar. But keep in mind, these are not 100% accurate, and it could come down to the wire today.
We all know someone who brings us joy when we need it most. Through smiles, laughter, and the totally unexpected. At Lay's, we call them joy givers, and we're here to celebrate them. So help us find the joy givers in your community. They're everywhere, and they're everything we need right now. Share their stories using #JoyGivers. For every post, Lay's will donate $50 to Feeding America, up to $1 million.
Providing a layer of protection you can count on, WeatherTech features non-porous surfaces that can easily be wiped with germ-killing disinfectants and can easily be washed out for complete protection, front, back, and even up the sides. It's not so easy with carpet mats. Stay safe with WeatherTech, the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Order today at WeatherTech.com.
At Domino's, we think it's important to look on the bright side right now.
I finally got some toilet paper on Monday.
Almost every night, me and my family have had dinner together, which we haven't done in years.
Enjoying the fam with the little guy.
I really like that I can wear yoga pants every day.
And you can still get specialty chicken, stuffed cheesy bread, medium 2-topping pizzas, or any 2 or more mix and match items for just $5.99 each. So that's something else to be glad about.
I'm just glad I don't have to share with you guys.
That's the spirit.
The open road, the wind in your hair, the feeling of freedom that drives us to go out and discover. At Chevy, we're committed to getting you there with confidence and peace of mind. If you need a new Chevy, interest-free APR financing for 84 months on many of our most popular models. You may even shop online and take delivery at home where available. And when you do, your Chevy Clean dealers commit to using enhanced vehicle cleaning measures with CDC-approved cleansers, so you can find new roads with confidence.
And Doug.
Give me your hand! I can save you! Lots of money with Liberty Mutual. We customize your car insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
If spending more time with your floor has been hard on your floor, change it with the Home Depot. Order online, get it delivered, and install it yourself. Save on top flooring brands like Lifeproof and Pergo on HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough, 10 years in the making, that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina Pro Plan Live Clear.
Everything is almost cloud-free at this point.
Plus, it's not cold at all.
We're drying out and even warming up. We love it that way.
Better days start with the Weather Channel.
Welcome back to our special coverage on launch day. We are less than 2 hours away. There you can see it on the bottom hand side of your screen. T-minus 1 hour and 44 minutes. You're looking live at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where there are some showers and thunder showers that are beginning to pop up in the vicinity. You can see the growing cumulus clouds in the background with some of those blue skies, and we've got a 50-50 shot weather-wise right now that this is going to be a go due to the weather. Well, we want to fill you in right now on who the astronauts are on this mission today. It's interesting to hear about their background and such extensive experience. Bob Behnken is the Joint Operation Commander, and he's going to oversee the rendezvous along with the space station, the docking, the undocking of the Crew Dragon capsule. Behnken became an astronaut in 2000. He flew on 2 shuttle missions and has been on the space station 3 times. He's a native of Missouri. He holds 3 degrees in engineering. Before NASA, he served as a test flight engineer for the Air Force. Doug Hurley is the spacecraft commander. He's responsible for the launch as well as the landing and recovery on board. He's served as an astronaut since 2000. He's had 2 space flights, including the last shuttle flight. He's a New York native with a degree in engineering, and he graduated from the U.S. Naval Test Pilot School. Before NASA, he served as both a fighter pilot and a test pilot. So that tells us the nuts and bolts, but there is more to these 2 men, as this piece from NASA illustrates.
Action. I love doing that.
This mission is the crewed test flight for the SpaceX Crew Dragon.
It has a lot of features and capabilities that hopefully we never have to utilize in a real mission, but Doug and I will make sure that they are all ready just in case we do.
In 3 words, I would just say he's pretty sharp.
Perfect. Doug's worst habit, I don't know, he's got a tighter sense of hygiene than I do, I think. Do you really want it cleaned that well? Yes, I do.
Yeah. He doesn't have one.
Yeah, you can't chicken out like that, because I didn't chicken out.
Yeah.
So
What I would say is I know almost instantaneously when I've not done something correctly. I'll just put it that way. He doesn't have a good poker face. Oh, that's me. No question.
Yeah, definitely Doug is more organized than I am, but I think there's a balance. He's organized with a set of information. I think I have a wider set of information. It just takes a while to find it. It's kind of an interesting question. I would bet on me.
It's a distance thing, right?
I would bet on me, but I think it's deceiving.
Yeah, Bob's deceptively fast, but maybe over a very short distance.
If like you're chasing a ball in a baseball game, that's Doug's job. But if you need to do a little bit further distance, it's probably me.
His favorite pastime, I think nowadays, his favorite pastime is hanging out with his son, and I think that's kind of for both of us, but Bob definitely, that's his. If he has a hobby, that's what it is.
I think the answer for both of us is really something that our dads made us do, and so those were the real jobs for us. And that's probably the hardest boss that you ever worked for is your father.
And it's not fun work usually. It's cleaning up, picking up, carrying, the good stuff.
He likes country and western. No, his favorite music is kind of in the alternative rock kind of category. We both kind of grew up with the 70s and 80s music, kind of have the same probably lexicon of music that we'll probably listen to on orbit.
I think I would be lying if I said that didn't happen probably once a week. Bob is just one of those guys that he's as competent, as smart, dependable, especially this this particular experience where the last 2 years working, the two of us working directly with SpaceX.
Hey Doug, we're still waiting for a weather update expected at 18
Obscure procedure. Obscure anything. Obscure things out. If we had to get some useless information, Doug is always the repository for that, just as a fun thing. He's the trivia master between the two of us.
Okay, copy all. Thanks for the update.
You want to do that one first?
I think that the thing I'm most looking forward to is actually ending up in the water safely at the end of the mission and seeing how we both go through that experience of I'm expecting a little bit of vomiting maybe to happen in the end game. So when we get to that opportunity to do that in the water together, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but I'm looking for that kind of celebratory event.
For me, it's just actually getting to fly the mission with Bob. We've been close friends since we started as astronauts almost 20 years ago. So being lucky enough to get to fly with your best friend is kind of I think there's a lot of people that wish they could do that, and we're lucky enough to do it. We've spent a ton of time together. We could have gone two directions with that. We could have gotten to the point where we didn't want to be around each other, or, we're closer. So, I think just the whole experience for me is what we're looking for. And then, yes, the celebratory vomiting at the end of the mission will be excellent.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We're here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
You may not see them, but your itchy eyes know they're out there. Thousands of allergens in each cubic yard of air. No wonder you rub your eyes hundreds of times a day. But now, relief is just one drop away. Introducing Pataday. Full prescription strength Pataday works right in your eyes, right on the cells that make them itch. Fast, just one drop once a day means relief that lasts all day. So turn your day into a Pataday. Now get Pataday without a prescription. Everywhere.
Add some resistance. Sarah, your Movie Plus trial is about to expire. Do you want to continue or cancel?
Capital One knows life doesn't update you about your credit card. So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant that looks out for charges that might surprise you and helps you fix them. Another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not. What's in your wallet?
Frito-Lay Variety Packs presents Totally Unrealistic, Never Gonna Happen in a Million Years Mom Fantasies.
Mother, thank you for planning such an enriching camping trip for us. Please accept this as a token of our appreciation. Now let us sing to you.
This'll never happen, but this might.
There's like no reception. I'm not cheering to tech. Ew, bugs!
Dibs on the Fritos!
Frito-Lay Variety Packs, packed with possibilities.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and only one thing can make a morning like this any nicer.
A hearty, hefty, good-tasting breakfast with eggs, bacon, sausage, cheese, and taters. And when you finish, you know you had something to eat.
I don't keep track of regrets, and I don't add up the years. But what I do count on is Boost High Protein.
And now there's Boost Mobility with key nutrients to help support joints, muscles, and bones. Try Boost Mobility with added collagen.
Could have sworn the treasure was right here.
I found something.
Ah, that's what that symbol meant.
Instead of hiding our money, it'd be better if there was a place that'll hold it for you safely. Oh, you could take little bits out when you wanted.
How would they know it's yours?
Eventually, somebody has a better idea.
Oh, you could have a little card with your name on it. Everyone can have secret passwords. I love secrets.
Like simple mobile plans with no contracts. And now with 5G, it's a better way to mobile. It's Spectrum Mobile.
Sexual harassment and discrimination in the workplace is illegal. That includes pregnancy discrimination, but you don't have to put up with it anymore. Phillips & Associates is a recognized leader in the area of workplace discrimination and harassment, selected as one of the 10 best employment law firms in New York. If you were sexually harassed or discriminated against at the workplace, call us or visit our website. Free consultations and no fee unless we recover. Phillips & Associates. Workplace harassment stops here.
is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago.
To get you through life's new normal.
Hey, America.
Trust me, you're going to love this. Come on.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
But kind of near average on.
This is the place to be.
Something for everyone. Local now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
Currently in our area, 78 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Today, a mix of clouds and sun. High 82. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Low 59. Winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny skies. High 71. Winds north-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
You're watching the Weather Channel. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren. We have special coverage of what we are still hoping, and it is still planned for a joint mission between NASA and SpaceX to send 2 NASA astronauts via a private company, SpaceX, on a Falcon 9 rocket. On top of that, we are going to be seeing their capsule eventually once it lifts off, and we're hoping it's going to be today. Once the Crew Dragon gets to the point in the on top of the rocket, when it gets to the point in the atmosphere or into space, they will separate. And what I think is one of the coolest things about this is that the rocket will come back down and land just as it had taken off. It'll land like this on a boat in the Atlantic Ocean, and then that boat will come back here where we are in Port Canaveral, and then from there, I mean, it's going to be on the boat like this, up, vertical, on the boat, coming back here to Port Canaveral. And in fact, just right over here, Matt, you can see there's a bunch of cranes off in the distance here as we look beyond the media. Everyone's taking cover, so we've had some rain showers here, but it's one of those cranes over there. I don't know how well you can see the colors, but the yellow and the red and white one, I should say, there's a dark orange or a red and white. That's the one that's actually going to take the rocket. Once again, it returns to a boat and then comes back here to Port Canaveral. And it's that crane that will lay it back down horizontally onto the side, which, of course, then again, it will be used later. But we did have a shower come through. It's still, I think we're on the back end of this shower, and I'm saying that because as we look across where that rocket, the Falcon 9 and the Crew Dragon capsule atop it is across the water there at Kennedy Space Center where, you know, can't even see it right now. Maybe you can make it out. It's a little tough right now, but we're seeing some showers. Yeah, so the visibility off there with the naked eye and in the camera not panning out. But what we are seeing right now, though, is a little bit of improvement in the weather. And as we were watching and looking at the radar, Jackie, the heaviest part of the storm that came through went just to the south of us. So we know that storms are going to develop. Showers and storms are going to develop. It's just a matter of timing and getting it just right, Jackie, to have a weather window at 3:22.
Right, and it's not even a window, right? It's actually a precise moment. And I've had a lot of people message me and say, well, why couldn't we wait that extra 10 minutes? Well, it all has to do with syncing up with the International Space Station. So, Chris, I wanted to ask you, as we continue to monitor these weather conditions right now, NASA is saying currently if we were to launch, it's a no-go. But they're hopeful that within, you know, the next hour and a half, within that time frame, that's going to improve and that's going to change with time. Now, there are a lot of different criterias for weather that could violate some of these rules, one of which has to do with the amount of cloud cover across the region. So we know the storms are developing all over the place, but what's the sky cover like around you? Is it pretty solid, or are you seeing kind of scattered clouds?
Well, the launch site's right across the water. So, yes, right now there's no way. So that's what I'm talking about. I was talking about the launch window, because the launch is going to happen at 3:22 or it's not. What I'm thinking and hoping for is a weather window, because we're going to have weather. We've already had weather. We're getting the rain. We're getting storms. But, yeah, I think it's, it doesn't take, a veteran meteorologist to see that there's a lot of clouds over there, and that's where the launch site is. So, that's... obviously, right now it's a no-go. But again, this could be on one side of a nice weather window. And that's what we're pulling for and hoping for, because we know how quickly these storms, Jackie, can pop up, and just as quickly they can collapse and dissipate. And sometimes it's after a storm comes and goes that you get that weather window. And we're hoping before more storms eventually come back. So you could potentially and possibly get a period in time where it's quiet and all the conditions for that 10 mile or the 11.5 mile radius around the launch site where the weather is good to go. So that's what I think everyone's hoping for, is just getting that window, because we know there's going to be showers today. We've seen it and we're expecting more. But right now, I'm sure there's a lot of boxes they would check that would be a no-go. And certainly the rain, there was a little bit of lightning earlier, Jackie, but not a lot either, so that's something. And really a lot of clouds. But there are broken spots too. If you wanted to take a look at that as well, overhead, there's a little bit of blue sky. Yeah. There's some high cirrus clouds. So it's not perfectly blue, you can see. So it's kind of that milky color. And cirrus clouds are taken into account too, right, as long as they're not too thick. But, so again, just, we're hoping for the best here. But not to put a definite meteorological term on it, but it's pretty messy looking right now, just visually, and pretty much a 360, almost. In this direction, it's a little bit better. But our weather's mainly be coming from the other direction. So it's, really a hit and miss right now. But again, it's not the launch window, Jackie, that I'm hoping for. I'm looking for a nice weather window, because the launch time is set, 3:22 or not.
Right, and take a look now as we look live at Kennedy Space Center. Literally 15 minutes ago, there was rain over the capsule, and now we're seeing clearing conditions.
Love. It's what we've always said makes Subaru, Subaru. And right now, love is more important than ever. In response to COVID-19, Subaru and our retailers are donating 50 million meals to Feeding America to help feed those who now need our help. It's all part of our commitment to our communities through Subaru Loves to Help. Love. It's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
I didn't know why my body was moving on its own. It turns out I have tardive dyskinesia, a condition that may be related to important medications I take for my bipolar disorder. Tardive dyskinesia can affect different parts of the body. It may also affect people who take medication for depression and schizophrenia.
In today's trying times, we're here to help you manage TD. Visit talkabouttd.com for a doctor discussion guide to prep for your next appointment in person, over the phone, or online.
It's a relief to know there are treatments for TD.
Hey, Boston. Hey, Atlanta. Hola, Miami.
Local Now is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago.
To get you through life's new normal.
Hey, America.
Trust me, you're going to love this. Come on.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
But kind of near average.
This is the place to be.
Something for everyone. Local Now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
The new house is amazing. So much character.
Original crown molding, walk-in closets.
We do have a rat problem. At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
It does help us save.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
With Dish, you get the Hopper. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once.
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, sounds great.
Because more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Dish, tuned in to you.
Our Hillshire Farm craftsmen start the day slow roasting turkey for incredible flavor. Then they double seal every slice for freshness. The results? Well, they speak for themselves.
Bill Swift here for the Flex Seal family of products. Now you can take care of all your indoor and outdoor repairs. Use Flex Seal to stop leaking gutters. Waterproof basement walls with Flex Seal liquid. Caulk around sinks and showers with Flex Shot. Repair roof damage with Flex Tape. With Flex Glue, you don't need screws or nails. Perfect for all types of repairs. And Flex Paste is super thick, so you can seal up big cracks and holes. Take care of indoor and outdoor repairs with the Flex Seal family of products.
First, we saw them head out and towards the cars that would take them toward their date with history. Astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley getting into Teslas for the ride to the launch pad at the Kennedy Space Center. There you can see them waving hello. There you can see them waving goodbye to their families. By the way, both astronauts are married to astronauts. Isn't that interesting? There you can see SpaceX and Tesla closely related there through Elon Musk as they get in their vehicles. Then they get in the elevator and they go up and they climb into the Crew Dragon capsule, which is atop the Falcon 9 rocket that will eventually launch them into space, hopefully about an hour and a half from now. Well, SpaceX is ready to try again today for liftoff. The mission is designed to take Behnken and Hurley to the International Space Station. They could be there for anywhere between 1 and 4 months, depending on how well Dragon does in orbit and the readiness of the next planned launch in August. Welcome to our special program about this historic launch today. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris, here to share today's launch with you, its mission and its significance for the future of man in space. And joining me today is meteorologist Chris Warren. He's at the Space Coast for today's historic launch. And Chris, we've already been seeing the showers and thunderstorms building across the region. So far, we're still talking about a 50% chance that today's still going to be a go.
Yeah, we just had some showers. It wouldn't be a go right now, Jackie, because you look across at where that Falcon 9 and that Crew Dragon are attached together off in the distance on the horizon. There's still rain. There's some big clouds overhead, but we're also starting to get the sunshine back. And I just want to reiterate, too, Jackie, what you said about this being a historic launch. Where we're looking at, we're in Florida, back on the Space Coast, about to send 2 human beings, American astronauts, from American soil, that's right over there, on an American-made rocket and capsule. And that hasn't been done in 9 years, since 2011. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for America, for the people that live here and are so proud of living on the Space Coast. So really, in a way, this is bringing the space back here to the Space Coast in Florida, Jackie.
Absolutely, Chris. Everybody waiting with bated breath today for sure. It's interesting to see it all coming down to weather conditions here yet again. Well, today's historic launch could open a new era for space travel. Today, we're getting a chance to speak with one of the astronauts on NASA's last space shuttle mission, Rex Walheim. He's joining us live via Skype in Houston. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jackie.
So it's been nearly a decade since the end of the space shuttle program. What's it like for you today to watch another launch?
It's really exciting because even when we passed the launch of the space shuttle, we were looking forward to what was going to happen next. So we were really excited to find out that the commercial crew were being built and that we could again launch our astronauts from.
Okay, we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you, Colonel Walheim, but I wanted to ask you, what do you think the significance is today about space in the future? All right. Colonel Walheim, can you hear me? Okay, he can't hear me. We're having some audio issues. Unfortunately, we will try and get back in touch with him and give you an update in just a little bit. In the meantime, we want to update you as to where we were this time in the middle of this past week when the mission was ready to go on Wednesday. You only have to take a look at this time-lapse view of storms that rolled over Florida's Space Coast to know that the return of manned space flights to U.S. soil probably would not happen. And then 16 minutes before the planned liftoff of the SpaceX mission, the official word came.
We basically scrubbed due to 3 rules that we were violating. All 3 would have been expected to clear 10 minutes after our T0 time. And those 3 were natural lightning, the field mills, and the attached anvil.
All right, there you could hear that we had 3 rules that were broken. And one of the things that we were looking at, and one of the concerns, was lightning in the vicinity. Not necessarily lightning that would be triggered naturally, but lightning that could be induced because of the rocket. So I just wanted to explain real quickly how that happens. So it doesn't form naturally in the atmosphere. It actually happens when the atmosphere produces a strong electric field, and then when the rocket would then take off, it can trigger some of that lightning. There you can see a live look over the launch pad. If you hear that noise underneath me, that is a live NASA feed as we continue to count down for launch. All right, I believe we have the connection once again now with Colonel Rex Walheim. He is a NASA astronaut who flew 3 space shuttle missions. Colonel, are you with us again now?
Yeah, I've got you loud and clear now.
Oh, we can hear you so much better. Thank you so much for your patience. We definitely appreciate that. So tell us your thoughts today. Did you think that we would ever get to this point after you flew your last shuttle mission in 2011?
Yeah, I knew we'd get to this point. I didn't know how long it would take. So we were excited after the mission to see what's next. And we knew we were retiring the space shuttle. And the reason we did that is to free up the money we were spending on the space shuttle to allow us to build these new commercial crew vehicles to take our astronauts to and from the space station. And using these commercial vehicles saved money. And that allows us to use that extra money to build the rockets and the spaceships that will take our astronauts farther than we've ever gone before, back to the moon and then eventually to Mars. And so it's really exciting to see it all happening live.
So you actually flew with Doug Hurley on that last flight, who is going to be flying today, hopefully, fingers crossed. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. We had a great time being on the last space shuttle flight. Doug is a great pilot, and really enjoyed flying with him. We really knew we had a lot of responsibility on our backs on the last flight of the shuttle. It was a storied program, 135 flights. Did amazing things like launching probes to different planets, launching and repairing the Hubble Space Telescope, and then the heavy lift version of building the space station, bringing all those big parts up to the space station. So we knew there's a lot of history in the program, and thousands of people had put their lives into the program, and we wanted to finish it strong. And so we worked really hard to do that. And now Doug's opening up a new era of this commercial space exploration, and so he's got a lot on his shoulders too, but I know he's really excited to fly this vehicle for the very first time, to experience it, to feel it, to hear it, to see what it's like to actually put this vehicle through its paces.
Yeah, what is that experience like as an astronaut to be sitting on there waiting for that liftoff? What went through your head?
Well, you get in about a couple hours before launch and you strap in, do comm checks, and there's not a whole lot going on. You're just wondering, hey, is this the day? Because, we talked about a 50-50 chance of the weather interfering with this launch. On my last launch, there was only a 30% chance we were going to go, and we ended up going anyway. So you never know for sure, but you're going through all your procedures and checks, and you also want to soak it in a little bit. That one of the most memorable times is when you're driving out to the launch pad, and we were in the Astrovan. They were in Teslas that you saw today, and you get out of you drive around on the causeway which goes to the up to the launch pad, and you turn a corner, and there before you is this beautiful spaceship on the launch pad, and it just takes your breath away. So you try to soak it all in, and then when the vehicle stops, you get out and you look at that beautiful spaceship before you take the elevator up and crawl in. And then you get strapped in and get ready to go. And it feels all very sturdy and like kind of sitting on top of a building until about T-minus 6 seconds when the engines start coming up. And then it feels like it's going to shake to pieces. It's absolutely amazing. And then right at T0, when the solid rocket boosters in the shuttle launch, it was a little kick in the pants. And then the acceleration was absolutely amazing. You go from 0 to 17,000 miles an hour in 8.5 minutes.
I can't imagine what kind of rush that would give you. Now, while you're going through all of your pre-flight checks, do you even have time to really reflect as to what you're going to be experiencing?
Yeah, actually, you really do, because you're in that vehicle for so long, for almost, like I say, about 2 hours. So once you do your comm checks and you're strapped in, there's not a whole lot to do, but sit back and talk to each other, maybe tell a few jokes and try to stay loose and get ready for the flight. But there is time to just think about it, and your thoughts, run to thinking about your friends and your family that traveled a long way to be there, and that are other ones that couldn't, and they're watching on TV, and to realize what an incredible experience you're just about to do.
Is it scary at all?
It can be a little bit, but mostly it's exciting, because especially on your first flight, you're just so much want this to happen, and it's so hard to wrap your mind around the fact that you're going to actually get shot off the planet and go into space. And so you think, well, something will, they'll cancel it, or they'll decide they want somebody else to do the job. But boy, then when those engines light, you feel that rumble and you feel that acceleration. You go, this is it. They're stuck with me. They can't change their mind now. I get to do this mission. It's a great feeling.
I love hearing all of your enthusiasm. I can just feel the excitement in your voice. If you had a chance today to do it again, would you do it?
Yeah, flying in space is awesome. It'd be absolutely a thrill to get a chance to do it again someday. But I had a chance to do it 3 times, so I'm very fortunate to have had a chance to fly it.
Have you had a chance at all to talk to the astronauts about it?
Yeah, I talked to Doug. I sent an email down to him, wishing him the best, and it was nice to hear from him. So they're doing real well, and I'm sure it is a little bit surreal for Doug to be back down there, 9 years after we flew on 135 and being ready to go fly the first flight in the SpaceX vehicle.
If you had a chance right now to say something in their ear and wish them good luck, what would it be?
That would be it, basically. Good luck, have fun. And that's the main thing. They're trained. They know how to do their job, and they're going to do it well. I know Bob and Doug are both seasoned professionals, so they're going to do their job well. I just want them to soak it in. This is a test pilot's dream, to fly the first flight of a new vehicle. And so here they are flying this vehicle. So all the sights, the sounds, the vibrations, everything's going to be new, and they can soak it all in. I'm sure there'll be a few times where they go, what was that? But hey, they're trained for that. They'll figure it out, and they'll check their procedures, and it's going to be great. And then they can come back and tell us all about it.
What do you think the future holds? How soon are we going to be making this more commercialized, where the public, you think, could actually access space?
That can happen pretty soon. So that's what we're marching toward. We're making this cheaper and more affordable and more frequent. And so that's what we're doing with our partners, with SpaceX and with our Boeing partners, which is the other part that develops these commercial crew vehicles. So that is the wave of the future. So over the next several years, that's going to be happening. And then NASA can take that next step, going back to the moon with the Artemis program, where we're going to put the first woman and the next man back on the moon by 2024.
Yeah. So what does this really signify to you for the future of space?
Well, it signifies that we're turning the corner. I think we're entering a new golden era of space exploration, because we really are making it possible for more people, more experiments, more research, more manufacturing. Everything can happen in space. The cheaper we get it to get to and from space, the more we can do there. And we can create a better business model for really establishing a low Earth orbit space commerce. And I think that's going to be very helpful.
All right, so much to look forward to. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us on this historic day, former astronaut Rex Walheim. All right, we want to head back out to Kennedy Space Center, where we've been seeing some showers in the vicinity. We're, about an hour and 10 minutes away from scheduled launch time. Our meteorologist, Chris Warren, is tracking the conditions. And what are you seeing out there now, Chris?
We're seeing some sunshine and getting a nice little break. However, across the water here at where the rocket is, we see that there are some clouds building again. So we'll see how that all plays out here, with some new clouds building just to the west of the Kennedy Space Center. But we hear a lot of things. You're hearing Dragon, you're hearing Falcon, you're hearing NASA, you're hearing SpaceX. So I want to try to help break down exactly what's going on, and part of the reason why this is so cool. So what you're hearing a lot is Crew Dragon, Falcon 9, okay? So what we have here, this is Florida right here. We're in Florida. This is land, that's water. We'll get to the water in a second. But so we have right across this water is where the rocket is. We'll just do that simple. That's the rocket. That is Falcon 9, okay? And that is SpaceX. On top of this, on top of the rocket, you have Crew Dragon, okay? Also SpaceX. However, in the rocket, you have the astronauts. Okay? And both of these astronauts here, American astronauts, are NASA. Okay? And the operations is joint. NASA has a say. They can say, no, we're not launching. It's part of the safety here and the checks. So what's going to happen here? Once this rocket launches once Falcon 9 launches with Crew Dragon, it's going to go up on its way to the ISS. So what's going to happen here is Crew Dragon is going to be heading that way. And it doesn't have the same mobility as a space shuttle does. That's why it's so important that it has to go to a certain time. They have to time it just right to get up. There's the maneuverability to it, but they have to time it just right to get up. But then this is what I think is absolutely fascinating. So they're going to dock with the ISS, and they're going to do their work as NASA astronauts, thanks to a private company here, SpaceX, an American company. And then what's going to happen here is the rocket is actually going to turn. So it goes up like this, and here's the top, here's the bottom. So here's the top now, here's the bottom.
Falcon 9,
and this is one of the coolest things. They can do this on land, or they can do it out in the ocean. And the Atlantic Ocean's right over there, and out in the Atlantic, the rocket is actually going to come down and land on a boat in the ocean. And then that rocket, like that, so it's going to come like this back to right here. We're at Port Canaveral here on Florida's Space Coast. And right here, those two vessels right there are also recovery vessels, but not for this mission. Those are SpaceX vessels out there. I don't know if you can see them. They kind of look like some odd shrimp boats, if you will. But those are SpaceX vessels for other missions that don't involve astronauts. But the rocket will come back here where some of the cranes over here in the distance, one crane in particular, the tallest one I'm told in America, is going to put that rocket back to a horizontal fashion. So with that, very complicated, a lot going on, people working very hard, a lot of money spent. Will it or won't it? That's what it comes down to, and it comes down to the weather window that has to happen around launch time at 3:22.
Domino's is serious about food safety. That's why your pizza stays untouched after baking at 450 degrees. And now that every delivery is contactless, you can safely mix and match any two or more for just $5.99 each when you sit around the table, even if it's not the same table.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We are here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
Is your body storing fat more easily? Do you suffer from a lack of energy? Or the draining side effects of restless sleep? How about an increase in wrinkles and even sagging skin?
Hi, I'm Kim Douglas, and as a lifestyle expert always on the hunt for the next great breakthrough, when I heard about a youth hormone that was associated with reducing body fat, increasing lean muscle mass, and even reducing appearance of wrinkles, I just had to learn more. I'm talking about human growth hormone, or HGH. And as early as our mid-20s, our natural production of HGH begins to drop dramatically. Here's the good news. Finally, there's Cerevital.
Cerevital is the first and only amino acid complex shown in a clinical trial to trigger the body's own natural release of HGH from the pituitary gland and increase mean HGH levels by an astonishing 682%.
Recent studies show that HGH has been associated with reducing body fat, reducing the appearance of wrinkles, improving sleep, and boosting energy. Women have been asking me about these symptoms for so many years. That's why I'm so excited about Cerevital.
Cerevital boosts your HGH naturally and at a fraction of the cost of injections.
I am 50 and Cerevital gave me my youth back. I feel incredible on Cerevital.
Cerevital sells for $99 in stores. But call right now because we're letting as many women as possible try Cerevital for 30 days absolutely risk-free. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes and we'll also include free shipping. You owe it to yourself to try Cerevital for 30 days. It's absolutely risk-free.
Cerevital is a true scientific breakthrough, 20 years in the making.
Call 1-800-801-9854 or get the facts at serovital.com now.
Hello there. Do we go crunchy cool or golden classic? I know. One for me and one for you. Now that's a sandwich. Gotta have Lay's.
We are the Thrivers, women with metastatic breast cancer. Our time for more time has come. Living longer is possible and proven in postmenopausal women taking Kisqali plus fulvestrant. In a clinical trial, Kisqali plus fulvestrant helped women live longer with HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer, and it significantly delayed disease progression. Kisqali can cause lung problems or an abnormal heartbeat, which can lead to death. It can cause serious liver problems and low white blood cell counts that may result in severe infections. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including breathing problems, cough, chest pain, a change in your heartbeat, dizziness, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, tiredness, loss of appetite, abdomen pain, bleeding, bruising, fever, chills, or other symptoms of an infection, are or plan to become pregnant or breastfeeding. Avoid grapefruit during treatment. Ask your doctor about living longer with Kisqali.
Inside the storm, every second counts. Deadline to Disaster, Sunday nights, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 79 degrees under partly cloudy skies. This afternoon, plenty of sunshine. High 81. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Low 59. Winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, mainly sunny. High 70. Winds north-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Right now on the Weather Channel, our special coverage continuing with a live look from Kennedy Space Center. Crew Dragon Falcon 9 rocket, Demo 2 here, joint venture between NASA and SpaceX. And this, it's all about the weather. It's a question of will it or won't it? And right now the sun is out. Depending on where you are in this part of the Space Coast, temperatures are ranging from the lower 80s to the mid 80s. 86 degrees close to where we are here, just across the water from where hopefully we will have a launch at 3:22. A little while ago, a shower came through and we could barely see maybe a mile. We're about 8 miles away from the launch site, but I'm told that as small as it looks out there, it looks like just a couple of sticks out there, but it's the darkest one on the left, which is where the tower and the rocket are currently located, and where the 2 American astronauts are right now, waiting to get that final go. And the go time is 3:22. It's not a launch window this time. It's a go time. This is a different type of a deal compared to other launches. This is a meetup mission. Essentially, what's going to happen here is that once the rocket takes off and Crew Dragon, the capsule on top of it, separates, it's going to go to the ISS, the International Space Station, where the 2 NASA astronauts are going to perform duties, astronaut duties here. But it's also, if you can think of it this way, it's also like a test drive. Because this is the beginning. This is the first manned, in fact, on U.S. soil, which is also extremely significant about this. It's the first manned launch of this, the first time astronauts are going up. And these 2 gentlemen happen to be best friends, too, which is another, I think, neat and compelling part of this whole story. But, of course, it's not going to happen if the weather does not cooperate. We did have some storms go through earlier, didn't cool things down too much, frankly, and now, based on the storms that have already gone up and it's still warm, so the air is still going to want to rise if it gets a nudge, and something they can give a nudge, Jackie, we know, are these outflow boundaries. So we've seen the first round. Now, essentially, we have to see how the atmosphere is going to interact with itself. Some of these outflow boundaries can come along, maybe meet up with the sea breeze front, and maybe meet up with some other moist air coming in from the other side of the state. There's a lot can go on now where new showers and storms can happen. So it's kind of, we're into that thing now where it's anybody's game. We just need that weather window, the right amount of time ahead and after the launch, too, to get this thing off.
Yeah, and current conditions are that weather rules are red right now due to the cumulus cloud rule, right? So too many thick clouds within the vicinity that reach up too high into the atmosphere, as well as that electrical field rule. So similar to that rocket-induced lightning effect, potentially. Well, switching gears now, you know, one fun fact about this mission that you may not know is that the spacesuits are new. They're not the bright orange in color that you might have been used to like they were for the launch phase of the shuttle flights. They're white. They're one-piece suits that are sleeker looking. They're custom made for each astronaut, and Hollywood costume designer Jose Fernandez came up with the suit. He's known for costumes in films like Captain America, Civil War, and Wonder Woman. The helmets are also custom made using 3D printer technology, and they have built-in microphones. The new suits will not be used for the spacewalks, however. Well, this is just the latest suit to be worn by astronauts on space missions. And here to talk about some of the more iconic spacesuits is Kathy Lewis. She's the curator of the spacesuits collection at the National Air and Space Museum. Thanks so much for joining us today, Kathy.
Oh, I'm glad to do it. Glad to join you. This is an exciting afternoon.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the design of the new suits.
Well, as you mentioned, the suits are designed very differently from suits in the past. These are launch and entry suits. They are not spacewalking spacesuits, but they're equally as important because they protect the astronauts during the most dangerous phases of a space mission, that launch and landing. They are there to protect the astronauts if something happens to the main system in the spacecraft. That, again, they still very attached to the space system. 6.4, Bob and I are go for launch. And they were designed differently by
Copy, go for launch. And next up will be go to GoPro at T-45.
Mr. Fernandez. And they look very different. They are sleek. They're part of the entire package of the spacecraft and the rocket.
Right. How important would you say that image is?
That image is very lean and sleek. Very few seams. This is sort of a packaging redesign. It isn't necessarily that they've done new technology, but it's very similar to what Steve Jobs did with the iPhone. He took technologies that were existing and he put them all together in a very sleek package. And that. So we have less than 30.
We have less than 30 seconds left. What kind of message do you think the spacesuit sends to inspire kids out there, perhaps?
I think it's a new identity for astronauts, but it also adds that element and that essential element of design. And that's something that we don't think about that much when we're talking about science and technology. But design is a key element. That's what makes humans humans.
Absolutely.
We have to have things that are apparent to vision and make some sort of statement when we see things.
All right, Kathy Lewis, thanks so much for being with us today. Kind of cool, those new spacesuits. We'll be right back.
When our daughter and her kids moved in with us, our bargain detergent couldn't keep up.
Turns out it's mostly water.
So we switched back to Tide. One wash, stains are gone.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. It's gotta be Tide.
With Dish, you get the Hopper. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once.
See you in the morning. Okay, bye, sounds great.
Because more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Dish, tuned in to you.
If your gums bleed when you brush, you may have gingivitis, and the clock could be ticking towards bad breath, receding gums, and possibly tooth loss. Help turn back the clock on gingivitis with Parodontax. Leave bleeding gums behind. Parodontax.
Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. No, really. Those are the actual ingredients. Tostitos. Get to the good stuff.
Capital One knows life doesn't update you about your credit card. So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant that looks out for charges that might surprise you and helps you fix them. What's in your wallet?
Local Now is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago. Hey, America.
2 tablespoons of sugar. Something for everyone. Local now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
When it comes to longevity, who has the highest percentage of its vehicles still on the road today? Subaru. When it comes to best overall value, who does IntelliChoice rank #1? Subaru. And when it comes to safety, who has more 2020 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus winning vehicles? More than Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai combined? Subaru. It's easy to love a car you can trust. It's easy to love a Subaru. Get 0% APR financing for 63 months on select Subaru models, now through June 1st.
We love the new apartment.
The natural light is amazing.
Hardwood floors.
There is a bit of a clogging problem.
At least Geico makes it easy to bundle our renters and car insurance.
Yeah, helping us save even more.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Now you can make any morning of the week feel like the weekend with Jimmy Dean Simple Scrambles, made fresh with 2 real eggs, sausage, and cheese, and ready in seconds.
Why don't you put a Sunday morning shine on tomorrow morning's breakfast?
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough, 10 years in the making, that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina ProPlan Live Clear.
Little choices make a big difference. Like delicious fruits and veggies. However you healthy. Naked.
Hey, Boston. Hey, Atlanta. Hola, Miami. Local Now is here for you. Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago. To get you through life's new normal. Hey, America.
Trust me, you're going to love this. Come on.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
But kind of near average on.
This is the place to be. Something for everyone. Local Now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
You're watching the Weather Channel. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren. You got a nice little break in the weather right now. A lot of fingers and toes crossed right now. Hopefully this is going to hold out. There are some showers around us. We did have a pretty decent shower that came through earlier, but let's look out over the launch site here across the water about 8 miles away from where we are here. We're at Port Canaveral, where a lot of the cruise ships would come in. If you've ever taken a cruise in or out of here, we're very close to Kennedy Space Center here at Cape Canaveral. And as we look across the way there, blue skies on the horizon. However, it's not just what you see right over the launch site. In the lower atmosphere, it's also higher up into the high cirrus clouds. That's a factor. And then up the coast of the United States, the trajectory of this, the path of this as it goes up over Earth, in case they have to abort the mission and the capsule has to come back down to the ocean, as far north as the North Atlantic, the weather has to be considered, whether or not there are conditions that are favorable for a recovery, if that's the case. But right now, it is looking hopeful for now. And we can certainly hope that this pans out, but it's so it can be so frustrating as well. We know storms are going to develop, but exactly where they develop and when is always a bit of a question. Storms did develop off to our west just a little while ago. We watched those build and then move on. And once those storms finish and that cold air rushes out, it creates these little boundaries, like these mini cold fronts, which could be the focal spot for new storms. I think we got a little bit of that going on. So we are starting to see some new clouds developing over here, like over here in the distance. This is west of Kennedy Space Center. And if these are traveling in that direction, in fact, the tilting of it tells me that they are, because the wind's a little bit higher up coming out of a southwesterly direction. So I'm thinking that these showers can be drifting in that direction over possibly or close to the launch site. But this is something that, we know minute by minute. It's the now casting. We looked at the models, yesterday, and it didn't look good for this time. But it's not until you're in that time within a few hours, or Jackie, even a few minutes before we know for sure. That's why it's still on. And it's on.
So currently,
it sounds simple, but it's on until it isn't anymore.
The latest data.
Right. So the technical poll has just been complete. They're talking about the weather right now. Let's listen in.
Area. And if we don't have lightning, then that is a go. We are currently only tracking a cumulus cloud rule violation for the launch for the range, and that's expected to clear between 1830 and 1840.
Copy all. That sounds like good news. Thanks.
Copy, and expect words at the pool.
Enough clearing. They are expecting to see enough clearing to allow the launch to happen. So that's what they're going with right now. Watching that cumulus rule right now, Chris, and all the technical rules have been cleared as well. So it looks like we're proceeding forward right now.
Yeah, that's great. In fact, let's go back over here to the old drawing board, Jackie. And so we're talking about the cumulus. Let's do a quick little, cumulus cloud talk here. So when we look out at the horizon, we're going to see different types of clouds. And the cumulus clouds can look like this, right? They're the puffy ones. But you can also get the big ones, right? So the towering ones. Or you can get these thunderstorms, these big, huge storms. And these are the anvils that they don't want to fly over. So if the launch pad, say, is over here, this is land, and if these storms are moving over it, or even clouds, right, are moving over it, they don't want to launch into the clouds, right? So that's something that is considered. So those are your cumulus clouds. When we talk about cumulus clouds, in fact, they're talking about the cumulus clouds. That's what we see right over there, right? There's the puffy clouds there off in the distance. But then do you also see, as we go to the right a little bit, how the sky's not perfectly blue? So while cumulus clouds may have a lot of water droplets in the lower, and the top of them could have ice crystals as well, which that moving around can create the lightning. But you have the kind of wispy clouds. So higher up, you get these clouds like this. These are made out of ice crystals. So the wispy, these mare's tails, or the high cirrus clouds that kind of give a milky white kind of look to it. And those are made up of ice crystals. And that is also another factor. So it's, Jackie, I think, interesting that just one cloud in the wrong spot, it doesn't have to be a thunderstorm or scrubbed. It could just be a cloud at the wrong time. So I think it's just a lot of factors in this. Very interesting, but it sounds like they're optimistic. So let's continue to hope for the best and keep all our fingers crossed. Yeah, you could kind of hear that audio underneath us, and they just said weather a go. So that's the official word as of right now. And we'll continue to monitor that. It went down to the last 16 seconds last time around. So there are quite a few different things that we're watching for those weather violation rules. That our active radar right now is showing you that there are showers and thunderstorms just to the southwest. But I want to zoom in and show you the visible satellite, because Chris, you were talking about some of those outflow boundaries, so we could really see this boundary off towards the west. We'd like to see that progress out over water. Otherwise, we could still see more storms fire up.
Listen, moms, Hot Pockets are exactly what hungry kids want in a snack. Premium pepperoni, real cheese, and that buttery garlic crust. They're literally stuffed full of deliciousness. Nothing satisfies like 100% real cheese and 10 grams of protein.
Hot Pockets.
Feel like getting back out there? Nissan is ready to help you with a bold, award-winning lineup and great offers. Kick off summer with no payments for 3 months. Plus, we'll cover your payments for up to 2 more months. Or get 0% financing on 13 models for up to 84 months.
In this time of social distancing, when taking a break from everyday life is critical to everyone's health, there is one thing we can all do together. Complete the 2020 census. Your responses are critical to plan for the next 10 years of healthcare, infrastructure, and education. Let's make a difference together by taking a few minutes to go online to 2020census.gov. It's for the well-being of your community and will help shape America's future.
I was missing teeth. It was painful to chew. And that's what originally drove me to Clear Choice.
When a patient comes in for their free consultation, oftentimes they're not happy with their dentures. Dental implant procedures, they're more permanent. The materials are made with a higher level of technology.
Implants are like normal teeth. I can now eat whatever I want. It's wonderful.
Hello there. Do we go crunchy cool or golden classic? I know. One for me and one for you. Now that's a sandwich. Gotta have Lay's.
natural litter that actually works?
At Tidy Cats, your wish is our latest littervention. New Naturally Strong with odor-absorbing activated charcoal. 100% natural, 100% powerful. There's a Tidy Cats for that.
Still fresh.
Unstoppable.
In-wash scent booster.
Downy Unstoppables.
Hey, take a Bud Light Seltzer.
Yeah, sure thing.
What's this?
It's Bud Light Seltzer Mango.
Sip initiated.
Show we like it.
Commencing happy face.
Oh, too much.
Bud Light Seltzer, available for delivery.
Coming up tonight on the Weather Channel. At 8, don't miss Heavy Rescue. And at 9, Deadline to Disaster. Then at 10, World's Deadliest Weather.
Welcome back to our special space coverage of the Crew Dragon launch today. There you can see the capsule and the live view of that. We just got the go-ahead for propellant load, and they are queuing the access arm that you can see that's attached right there. That is going to be backing off and releasing. We also have a go as of right now. Oh, there you can see it pulling away. So as we move forward into the less than 45-minute window before
imminent work occurring for Dragon manual escape flight rules. A reminder on fire alarm instructions. In the event of a fire alarm, key operators previously briefed will remain at their post.
So you can hear them continuing to do their pre-check as the countdown is on. Thanks for being with us today. We want to talk more about the weather conditions because this will likely be the deciding factor once again. I don't know if you just heard it there. He said weather is a go for launch. And we have been watching showers and thunderstorms in the vicinity already over the last couple of hours. So you can see that little circle there. This is the area of concern, and you can see that there are some cumulus clouds within the area, but our latest short-term computer models are showing that that may exit just in time to give us the window that we need to make launch happen. Now, outflow boundaries or cooler air coming out of thunderstorms can develop, and new thunderstorms then can trigger right along that outflow boundary, and that's what we've been seeing here to the west of Titusville as well as Port St. John. Notice the pad area right now is on the clear side, and all we need is that 10 nautical mile radius of favorable weather conditions. Things can be going on to the north, things can be going on down towards the south, as long as we're clear there at the launch pad, but also along the flight route, because if for some reason an emergency happens and they have to escape and the capsule needs to splash down, we need to have good conditions down the line. And here's the latest projection of where that path would go, and weather conditions are looking favorable within that region right now too. All right, we want to bring in somebody who knows what it's like to be on a mission to space very similar to this. Colonel Terry Virts joins us now from Houston. And Colonel Virts, thanks so much for being with us today. Here we go again, right? We looked at this on Wednesday and we're back at it. I guess the good news up to this point is that everything went smoothly right up to that last 16 minutes.
It's part of the deal when you're flying rockets out of Florida. Sometimes the weather's good, sometimes it's not, especially in the summertime and especially in the afternoon. As you know better than anybody at the Weather Channel, it's kind of a roll of the dice. But I guess it looks pretty good right now. We'll fingers crossed we'll see for the next hour.
All right, now you actually flew with astronaut Bob Behnken. What was that experience like?
It was amazing. Yeah, Bob and I flew on STS-130 together about a decade ago from that same launch pad, 39A. That was my first space flight, and it was awesome. It was something I dreamed about my whole life, was looking forward to since I was a little kid, and I eventually got to do it. So it was pretty spectacular. But we had a scrub also. Ironically, it was a night launch, and it was in the wintertime, and we still had to delay. The first launch attempt was canceled because of weather. It's just part of the business.
Is that frustrating?
For me, the first time it was pretty frustrating. It's a lot of work you have to go through to get suited up. It's not just the astronauts. There's hundreds or there's thousands of people that are getting you ready to launch, and all your friends and family. When the shuttle launched, there was probably 100,000 people there watching. Now with the pandemic, there's a lot less, but it's just a big effort. And just fueling the rocket and then defueling the rocket is expensive and it's kind of dangerous too. So there's a lot that goes into it. So it's frustrating, but the second launch attempt was pretty good.
So safety, obviously, number one, and the obvious reason why you wouldn't do that. But are there any other advantages to delaying a launch as a pilot?
Yes, so absolutely. For me, that was my first attempt ever, and it was kind of disorienting. And it, you're in this suit, and I'm wondering how I'm going into space. It's this alien environment. So coming back to try it a second time was actually better. Like, I was more at ease. I was more relaxed. I kind of felt like I had been there and done that, before. So I didn't really want it to happen. At the time, I was frustrated, but in the long run, I think it was better for me as a rookie. Now, Bob and Doug are not rookies. They're both my astronaut classmates, and they've each flown a couple of times, although it's been about a decade for both of them. So it's been a while since they've been in space. But for me, it was not a bad thing.
So what goes through an astronaut's head as you're preparing for launch?
The main thing for me was don't screw up. All of my friends were watching, and if I would have made a bad mistake, I would have gotten a nickname. I didn't want that. So my main concern was not making any mistakes.
And we've got about 30 seconds left. We want to carry you through to the next break. But if you could give them any advice right now, what would it be?
Just stay relaxed, stay focused on what's going on. On my first flight, I remember just some of the views, seeing Earth for the first time. It was really distracting, and I had to really focus on flying the space shuttle. This SpaceX capsule is a lot more automated, so there's not a lot of manual flying required, but it's, stay relaxed and stay focused.
Yeah, and you took some spectacular pictures as well. He's a great follow on Twitter if you haven't seen him. Colonel Birds, stay with us through the commercial break. We're going to continue this conversation right after that.
Here's Candace, who works from home and then works from home. But she can handle pickup, even when her bladder makes a little drop-off. Because Candace has poise. Poise under pressure and poise in her pants. It takes poise.
How do you think they make Starburst taste so juicy?
Starburst? Juice-Dradic equation. Super top secret mathematical formula they keep stored inside a safe, inside a vault, inside a volcano.
Oh, Juice-Dradics.
Starburst, unexplainably juicy.
What's the secret to natural bliss? We choose perfect, simple ingredients. Farm fresh milk and cream, pure cane sugar, and Madagascar vanilla.
That's one tasty secret.
Natural bliss. Keep it real, make it simple.
I looked at partial bridges, I looked at dentures. Out of all the options, ClearChoice was the only choice for me.
All the specialists with all the technology they need are in one spot. It makes delivering this 21st century world-class dentistry very convenient, and we do it in one day.
Call today to schedule your free comprehensive consultation. We'll even talk financing options while you're here.
I can laugh, people crack a joke, and I smile. It was a life-changing thing.
Call ClearChoice today.
It's been 75 years since your ancestors served in World War II. Many of their stories remain untold. Find and honor the veterans in your family. Their stories live on at Ancestry.
You may not see them, but your itchy eyes know they're out there. Thousands of allergens in each cubic yard of air. No wonder you rub your eyes hundreds of times a day. But now, relief is just one drop away. Introducing Pataday. Full prescription strength Pataday works right in your eyes, right on the cells that make them itch. Fast, just one drop once a day means relief that lasts all day. So turn your day into a Pataday. Now get Pataday without a prescription, everywhere.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough, 10 years in the making, that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina ProPlan Live Clear.
Still fresh.
Unstoppable.
In-wash scent booster.
Downy Unstoppable.
At Spectrum Business, you can count on us to keep you connected when it matters most, with reliable internet, phone, and TV services. Our network was built to handle the capacity that today's challenges demand. We know these are difficult times for small businesses, and at Spectrum Business, we want to do more. That's why we're providing access to advertising resources, like a free video you can use in social media, on your website, or on TV. And we're providing small businesses opportunities for coverage on our Spectrum News networks. We're also working with SCORE, a nonprofit resource partner of the U.S. Small Business Administration that has mentors and advisors to help you navigate financial assistance and other challenges your business may be facing at no cost to you. To learn more about what Spectrum Business is doing and how we can help your small business, visit business.spectrum.com/count on us today.
Active tornado warnings in effect.
I wasn't sure that I was going to walk away from the situation.
There just went a house. The roof just get ripped off. We're under fire.
When that came down, I yelled, I don't want to drown in the storm. Guys, we've got cars floating again.
Oh my God.
Truly, it was the scariest moment of my life.
Don't miss all new episodes of World's Deadliest Weather and Deadline to Disaster. Sunday nights on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 80 degrees under fair skies. This afternoon, plenty of sunshine. High 81. Winds west-northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tonight, mainly clear skies. Low 59. Winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, mainly sunny. High 70. Winds north-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
I'm meteorologist Chris Warren here at Port Canaveral on Cape Canaveral here in Florida, Florida's Space Coast. Once again, Americans leaving from American soil on American rockets and an American capsule. SpaceX and NASA joining together, and it looks like, fingers still crossed, the weather is starting to come together. I'm hearing that they have actually taken the arm away from the rocket, so more signs now pointing to the fact that they're feeling confident that this is going to happen, Jackie. And also hearing that the president has also just landed as well. In spite of what looks like some pretty tall clouds and showers, I think they are far enough away that hopefully, Jackie, we're doing okay.
Fingers crossed. It's all looking better than it did just an hour ago. It's incredible how conditions can change so quickly. And as we take a look at all the data across the region, signs are pointing to conditions being a little bit more favorable than what we were thinking. So this could be good news, and we may just have liftoff here in about a half an hour's period of time. So if you were with us before the commercial break, you knew we were having conversation with Colonel Terry Virts. He is an astronaut, and he has flown 2 space flights, one in the shuttle, and then he took a Soyuz rocket up from Russia. Colonel Virts, thank you so much for staying with us. Now, before the break, we were talking a lot about the lead up to launch, but tell us what that experience is like of the actual launch, being rocketed at 17,000 miles per hour.
Well, I had been a fighter pilot and test pilot, and I thought I had done some pretty cool things before my first launch, but man, there's nothing like that, especially in the space shuttle. It was so big and massive. It's like this giant muscle car. The shuttle, it started off with this loud roar, like a noise that I had never heard before. The shuttle engines ran for about 6 seconds, and then liftoff happened. And when liftoff happens, and the shuttle, those big white solid rocket motors, have a lot of vibration, and this 4 million pound spaceship jumps off the launch pad with 7 million pounds of thrust. So it is loud. It is this visceral roar. It's like somebody shaking you, grabbing you and shaking you. And you're also pushed back under G forces. The shuttle got up to about 3 Gs. The Soyuz got up to about 4 Gs. I'm sure SpaceX is about the same. So imagine laying on your back with 3 or 4 of your best friends laying on top of you. So you're pushed down. It's actually hard to breathe. You have to physically push your chest out just to let air get in your lungs. So it's quite an experience.
And then you end up being weightless down the line. Talk to us what it's like to just be on the International Space Station.
Yeah. So, and then somebody turns the engines off and they turn the gravity switch off and you're floating. And it happens instantaneously. So the first couple of days for me, it was a really steep learning curve. When you first get in, there's this urge to do this, like you're falling because you are actually falling. That's what's happening physics wise. And you have to move around with your hands and carry things with your feet. So it's just an alien experience, but I love it. I really, really, really love floating. You kind of feel like Superman, and the view was the best thing of all. The view cannot be beaten.
It really does sound like fun. I think so many people are so fascinated with space. Why are you fascinated with space?
It was something that I wanted to do my whole life. The first book I ever read was about Apollo when I was in kindergarten, and I just was hooked. Growing up, I had pictures of rockets and airplanes and galaxies on the wall of my room, and I was lucky to have parents that supported me, and they really didn't know what you had to do, or no one had any idea in my family, but they helped me learn how to do things like program a computer, or I got a telescope, and I had to figure all that stuff out on my own. So it was something that I just fell in love with at a young age. I read a book called The Right Stuff, which is probably one of the best books of all time for sure about space. And that taught me what I needed to do to become an astronaut.
There are a lot of kids out there right now who have never seen a launch before in their lifetime. They are the next generation of scientists. They are the next generation of astronauts. What advice do you have for them if this is their goal?
Well, one of the most important pieces of advice is school is really important. Not only the high school and college, of course you have to do those things. But people always ask me, how long did you train to be an astronaut? What's the training required? And the reality is a lifetime. There is a lifetime of learning that you have to go through. Not only, of course, you have to do well in school, you have to do well in college, but beyond that, it's, I had to learn how to be a fighter pilot. I had to learn how to be a test pilot. I had to learn Russian language. I had to learn how to be the crew doctor. I've got a book coming out in September called How to Astronaut, and there's a bunch of chapters of all these kind of random things that I had to learn how to do. So being an astronaut is really a lifetime of learning. So for kids, find out what you're good at, find out where your passion and your desire is, and then just follow that and be ready to learn your whole life.
All right, great advice. Colonel Terry Virts, thanks so much for being with us today as we continue to follow the launch. We'll be right back.
Duracell Optimum will be right where you need them today, tomorrow, the day after that, and the day after that, day after day. Packaging designed to make storage easier. Duracell Optimum.
Still fresh.
Unstoppable.
In-wash scent booster.
Downy Unstoppables.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We're here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
It's best we stay apart for a bit, but that doesn't mean you're in this alone. We're automatically refunding our customers a portion of their personal auto premiums. We're also offering flexible payment options for those who have been financially affected by the crisis. We look forward to returning to something that feels a little closer to life as we knew it. But until then, you can see how we're here to help at libertymutual.com/COVID-19.
With Dish, you get the Hopper, TV's most powerful DVR. It lets you record up to 16 shows at once. Huh? Why so many?
See you in the morning.
Okay,
bye,
sounds
Mom.
great. Come here.
Because we know more shows can help you make the most of the perfect girls' night in.
Record up to 16 shows at once. Dish, tuned in to you.
Local Now is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA.
Chicago.
Hey, America.
2 tablespoons of sugar. something for everyone. Local now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
Frito-Lay Variety Packs presents totally unrealistic, never gonna happen in a million years mom fantasies.
Mother, thank you for planning such an enriching camping trip for us.
Please accept this as a token of our appreciation.
Now let us sing to you.
This'll never happen, but this might.
There's like no reception.
I'm not cheering, Ted. Bugs!
Dibs on the Fritos!
Frito-Lay Variety Packs, packed with possibilities.
Our Hillshire Farm craftsmen start the day slow roasting turkey for incredible flavor. Then they double seal every slice for freshness. The results, well, they speak for themselves.
Love. It's what we've always said makes Subaru, Subaru. And right now, love is more important than ever. In response to COVID-19, Subaru and our retailers are donating 50 million meals to Feeding America to help feed those who now need our help. It's all part of our commitment to our communities through Subaru Loves to Help. Love. It's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
All right, breaking right now, we are just about to watch history being made. This is a live look at Kennedy Space Center where the Falcon 9 rocket is just about to launch the Crew Dragon capsule, and all signs right now are pointing to yes. We're being told that weather conditions are improving. SpaceX engineers saying that weather is marginal but acceptable for liftoff. So look at the time right there, T-minus 23 minutes. This is the rocket that will send Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley into orbit. So the countdown continues, and this is history in the making, where we have American astronauts on an American rocket that are set to take off on American soil for the first time in nearly a decade. This mission is designed to take Behnken and Hurley to the International Space Station. That's why we have a very specific time when launch has to happen, because they have to be able to sync up and catch up with the International Space Station. They could be there for anywhere between 1 to 4 months, depending on how well Dragon goes into orbit and the readiness of the next planned launch, which is right now scheduled for August. Thanks so much for being with us today. Welcome to our special program about this historic launch. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris, here to share today's launch with you, its mission and its significance for the future of humans in space. And joining me for this historic mission is meteorologist Chris Warren. He is live at Florida Space Coast. We've got Dr. Paul Sutter, who is going to be joining us as well. He's an astrophysicist with Stony Brook University and the Flatiron Institute in New York. So everybody, thanks so much for being with us today. We want to start out with Chris as we're inching closer and closer to liftoff right now. What is the mood? What is the excitement? And talk to us about what you're seeing weather-wise around you, Chris.
Well, first, Jackie, before we get into that, you said it was 23 minutes. What is it now? What does it say to launch? I can't see.
21:50.
Oh, man, it's feels so close, right? And everything that has to come together. The energy's coming up a little bit here. We are at Port Canaveral. This is where the cruise ships come in. In fact, I can show you people, media, it's kind of like spillover media, essentially. There's a lot of interest in this, and we can see people are essentially getting in their positions because it looks favorable now. I mean, it looks like all signs are pointing to that we're in pretty good shape. And when we look overhead, there are some pretty high cirrus clouds, maybe blow off from a storm, which if that was over the launch site, that would be an issue. But we're about 8 miles away from there, and the weather has essentially cleared a bit. There are a few spotty clouds off in the distance over here and a few high cirrus clouds. And cirrus clouds, the high clouds made of ice crystals, can also be an issue. So it's not just lightning and thunderstorms. There's a lot that goes into it. But in fact, where we're going to be watching here in a matter of minutes, as these two American astronauts head into outer space, leave Earth here, we can try to show you, Matt Safer and I try to point exactly what we're looking at. You see what looks like a couple of towers out there. There's a white one and then a dark one. It's the dark one where the rocket and the tower are, the rocket that's going to be off, the Falcon 9 rocket with a Crew Dragon pod on top of it, or the capsule, if you will. And once it goes up, it's not just the weather here, but before it gets into space and before it has a chance to get up to the International Space Station, there is a point where they can abort. And there are some fire engine going by, but there is a point on the ascent going up when they can abort the mission still. And the capsule would then return. After it separates from the rocket, the capsule would come back down somewhere into the Atlantic Ocean. So the weather, all up and down on its path where it may come down, the weather and the seas are also a concern too, because if they have to go retrieve the capsule that's somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, essentially from here all the way up into the North Atlantic near Europe, that weather is actually important too, in case they have to go get the 2 astronauts from an aborted mission after takeoff. So just now, a matter of minutes, Jackie, and as we look, the sun is shining on us. We did have a shower come through. There was a little bit of lightning, 1 or 2 strikes, but nothing really like what you and I saw on Wednesday for that scrubbed launch. So we've been talking about this. I mean, they don't do with this type of a mission, this type of a rocket and capsule, it's not a launch window. It is a specific time. It must be at 3:22 because of the position of the International Space Station in that meetup. But what we've been talking about, Jackie, is we could get lucky and get a weather window, because we know there's showers. There's showers out there right now. We saw showers earlier, and we're expecting more showers later on. But we can get a weather window. And, Jackie, it looks like at this point we're in that weather window.
Right. I'm looking for wood so I can knock on it because it really does look like we're in better shape compared to what we saw on Wednesday. You know, I think the mood overall on Wednesday, there was a lot of excitement, a lot of momentum, but we had more intense storms. We had more robust storms across the region. In fact, we even had a tornado warning just a few miles to the north of the launch pad about an hour and a half or so before launch was scheduled to take place. That was Wednesday. Today is a different day. And while we have some similarities in terms of the sea breeze kicking up and more thunderstorms which have fired up into the vicinity, you also can see that a lot of that action is kind of dying down. The coverage is not as widespread. We're seeing storms that had developed but that had been weakening right now. And so these are all pointing to signs that conditions are improving. Now, as we show you the 10 nautical mile radius around the launch pad, you can see there still are some thunderstorms in the vicinity. But let me put this into motion for you right now. And you can see those storms that have been progressing off towards the east, they have been weakening. And that is the good sign. So we've been watching the cumulus cloud field rule, and it has to do with the coverage of storms, but also the depth of thunderstorms and how high those clouds might reach into the atmosphere. Are they high enough that they are too cold that this could be a problem? Would that rocket then have to fly through that in order to go on its planned path out to space? So there you can see we put the trajectory on there of where it's expected to go within the first 77 miles. Right now, that is all looking good, and that is all looking clear. We do have some activity down to the south towards Titusville, but those are pushing pretty much due to the south. If they continue on that same track, if they continue on that same trajectory, that is going to miss that launch site, and it looks like things are going to be A-okay. So I would say here we are, 16 and a half minutes out, and I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic at this point. Here's a look at the conditions, and the red color that you're seeing on the map here too, by the way, kind of shows you the temperatures, what might be leading to some instability. Notice the weather observing site there in Melbourne, where thunderstorms developed, and you've got the lightning all over the place, and the temperature dropped down to 75 degrees. So look at the difference. In fact, Matt, would you mind, Matt Reagan, our weather producer, also space geek, doing a great job helping run the radar today. Give me a little distancer track as to how many miles that is between Melbourne and NASA. And this will give you an idea of exactly what we've been talking about. 34 miles. That's not that far away. And there's just no way to predict, would that thunderstorm, days ahead of time, could that thunderstorm be right over Launch Pad 39A? Or is it going to be right down there towards Melbourne? So you can see the atmospheric conditions do show some of that favorable, atmospheric conditions for thunderstorms to continue to fire up. But things are looking pretty good right there on the Space Coast. So we want to take a live look right now of what conditions are looking like there. And we also want to bring in Dr. Paul Sutter. He's an astrophysicist at Stony Brook University and the Flatiron Institute. He is joining us once again for today. Dr. Sutter, Thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me again.
Again, I know it's deja vu all over again, but things are looking a little bit better today. How excited are you for the potential of this launch?
Yeah, I'm definitely more excited today than I was earlier in the week. Wednesday was just a very, very gross day. And today the sun is shining. Like you said, there's this weather window. All signs, all tests are green, all tests are positive. It looks like this thing is ready to go.
It really does. We've talked a lot about what happens leading up to the launch, but not as much as what happens after. So what happens after this rocket goes up?
So the ignition, the first step is the launch of what's called the first stage. This is the main booster, the big rocket. This is what gets the rocket and the capsule up off the ground into the atmosphere. Then that will detach and eventually land on a barge in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean for use later. Then another rocket will take over the second stage, and that is what will get the capsule up into orbit. Then once the capsule is in orbit, the second stage will detach, and the astronauts will orbit the Earth, I believe, for about 19 hours as they catch up to the International Space Station, where they'll finally dock.
Part of the appeal of this design is that it is reusable. How important is that?
The reusability of these rockets is critical, and that's one of the things that makes today a major milestone. Is usually in the past decades of spaceflight, we use the rockets once, and rockets are the most complicated things ever designed by humans. They cost a little bit of money to make every time, and we literally just ditch them in the ocean after every single use. But what SpaceX is doing is developing reusable rocket technology where we launch something, bring the rocket down to Earth, clean it up, refill it, and get it ready to go again. This dramatically lowers the cost of access to space.
And what does that mean for our future then?
This is crazy. We don't know what it will mean, because once you make something cheap, people come up with all sorts of crazy ideas. Like, imagine or contrast the internet back in the 70s when 24 universities were able to afford access to it, to now where the internet is a part of our daily lives because it's so cheap and accessible. What will accessible low Earth orbit look like in the future? It's wide open.
Wide open. Demo 2 is still a test here today. What are we trying to prove still?
Right. Every rocket launch is in some sense a test, because we're always tweaking, we're always changing, we're always configuring and trying to improve. This, however, is the first test of this rocket, the Falcon 9, with the capsule, the Crew Dragon, with actual live human beings on board. Not cargo, not mannequins, 2 actual living people. This is a big test.
Do you think there's a risk that the government is working with commercial companies to take people to space?
I don't see this as a risk. I see this as a massive benefit. SpaceX has an excellent track record, a safety record, a reliability record. NASA still oversees and has very rigorous, very strict guidelines of reliability and ability to test, ability to abort, ability to save lives if there is a malfunction. SpaceX has met or exceeded all of those tests, which is why there are 2 astronauts on board today.
All right, we want to bring meteorologist Chris Warren back into the conversation. I know Chris also fascinated with space, and today historic in so many different ways.
Yeah, this is, and something too I was thinking about, Jackie, for the people that live here in Port Canaveral and around, we're at Port Canaveral, but around here, Cocoa Beach or Orlando, the whole stretch of Florida's East Coast, the center part of the coast, that is the Space Coast. And it's been since 2011, since Americans have left the Space Coast. And now, and think about the timing of this too, a time when people are hoping and longing for some normalcy back in their lives. This is something that can make us feel good about being Americans, and especially the residents here can feel good about space coming back to the Space Coast here in Florida. And it is a remarkable endeavor, not just the fact that 2 human beings are leaving the planet today, if the weather does continue to cooperate with us, but just everything that goes into it. You hear it, it's not always the destination. You know, putting people on the moon, it was everything that went into that. You know, everything that goes into the rockets, everything that goes into the capsule, the planning, the math that goes into all of this, and the engineering that goes into this, and the timing and the teamwork. And it is a true testament to people and Americans of seeing a goal and a willingness to do this. And think about SpaceX as well. You know, of a private citizen and a private company, Elon Musk has, you know, is funding sending people to space. Yeah. You know, or, you know, it's his organization. And so it's that private business and the government working together for the benefit of both is the goal with this, Jackie. So just there's so much more than a rocket going to outer space, and the rocket science behind that is phenomenal. But the timing of this and just everything about it just makes it that much bigger.
Absolutely. Dr. Paul Sutter is still joining the conversation with us as well. We just heard the word that from NASA, you can hear some of the audio in the background there, that we are continuing to launch. We are T-minus 8 minutes away now. I know at 7 minutes away, the Falcon 9 begins engine chill prior to launch. What do we want to look forward to now that's coming next, the next big step?
All right, so the next few minutes are going to be the last and final checks, where the engine, which, like I mentioned, is one of the most complex machines ever devised, is going to, in the process of launch, going to mix kerosene with liquid oxygen and make a big giant explosion and try to keep it.
With Oscar Mayer Deli Fresh, it's not just a sandwich. Far from it. It's a reason to come together. It's a taste of something good. A taste we could all use right now. So let's make the most of it and make every sandwich count with Oscar Mayer Deli Fresh.
We all know someone who brings us joy when we need it most. Through smiles, laughter, and the totally unexpected. At Lay's, we call them joy givers, and we're here to celebrate them. So help us find the joy givers in your community. They're everywhere, and they're everything we need right now. Share their stories using #JoyGivers. For every post, Lay's will donate $50 to Feeding America, up to $1 million.
What does it mean to be a good neighbor?
It means being there for each other.
And that's why State Farm is announcing Good Neighbor Relief Program.
We know that our customers are driving less, which means fewer accidents.
So State Farm is returning $2 billion to auto policyholders for the period ending May 31st.
And will continue making real-time decisions to best serve you, our customers.
Because now, more than ever, being a good neighbor means everything. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You're ready to drive again, and not just to the neighborhood store. In a new Honda, you can enjoy the open road with powerful performance. And your money can go farther too, because Honda holds its value better than any other auto brand. Your Honda dealer is offering flexibility, like shopping online, so you can purchase with confidence. Get your new Honda today. KBB.com's 2020 Best Value Brand.
Okay, everyone, our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Great tasting Ensure with 9 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and nutrients to support immune health.
Not even our competitor's best battery can match the power of Energizer, because Energizer Ultimate Lithium is the longest-lasting AA battery in the world. Energizer, backed by science, matched by no one.
If spending more time with your floor has been hard on your floor, change it with the Home Depot. Order online, get it delivered, and install it yourself. Save on top flooring brands like LifeProof and Pergo on HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough, 10 years in the making, that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina Pro Plan Live Clear.
Still fresh. Unstoppable. In-wash scent booster. Downy Unstoppables.
Here's to the road ahead. Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Your Toyota dealers are offering so many ways for you to save, including 0% financing for 60 months and attractive leases on popular Toyotas like Camry, RAV4, and Tacoma. And Toyota will defer your payments up to 90 days. You can even shop and buy online from the comfort of your home.
All from the brand you trust, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
Anyway. Take on me, take on me, take me on.
Every Troy built is tested to make yard work the best work. Troy built for life.
Inside the storm, every second counts. Deadline to Disaster, Sunday nights, only on the Weather Channel.
Currently in our area, 81 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 58, winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny skies, high 70, winds north-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Sunday night, clear skies, low 52, winds north-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
We are just minutes away now as we get closer and closer to a milestone for this year. The liftoff of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. It's going to launch the Dragon Crew capsule with 2 astronauts on board into orbit to reach up and connect with the International Space Station. Our Chris Warren is live in Cape Canaveral right now. You're at Port Canaveral, I believe, and we are just minutes away from liftoff. All signs are pointing to a go right now. We just had the engine chill take place prior to launch. The Dragon transitioning to internal power now. And then as we head towards 1 minute out, command flight will begin its final pre-launch check. So we have made it farther today than we did Wednesday, and we just have a few minutes to go. 3:22 Eastern time, just 2 minutes away from launch. Let's bring in meteorologist Chris Warren. We've got Dr. Paul Sutter, an astrophysicist, as we're getting ready for that launch. Incredible to think that this is going to be happening right before our very eyes. Weather conditions could be the last thing to hold this up. And it's incredible to me, Dr. Sutter, that we have the technology that they could still stop this with about 5 seconds left, if necessary.
That's right. This rocket is being checked and rechecked as the fueling is complete, as the chill down happens, as all the internal systems come online. Everything is checked and double checked and triple checked. And the whole thing is set up to abort
Stage 2
on
lock
a
load
dime.
out. Propellant fills are complete. Dragon is in auto idle.
Can we see the clock? All right, there you can see the live images. You can see we're just a few seconds away from liftoff right now. Asking the control room if we can see that countdown clock so we can see our progress as we're waiting down to the final minute. Looks like we're about 30 seconds away right now, 30 seconds away from launch. Let's continue to listen in.
Falcon 9 is in startup. Dragon is in countdown. FTS is armed for launch. Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
SpaceX Dragon, we're go for launch. Let's light this candle.
T-minus 30 seconds.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA. Go SpaceX. Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
Vehicle pitching downrange.
1 Alpha.
Copy, 1 Alpha.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Falcon power and telemetry nominal.
M1D throttle down.
Vehicle is supersonic.
M1D throttle up.
Max Q.
1 Bravo.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
Start of MVAC engine chill. M1D throttle down. Eco.
2 Alpha.
Falcon stage separation confirmed. Copy, 2 Alpha.
MVAC ignition.
Acquisition of signal WAPs.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Dragon SpaceX nominal trajectory.
And there you have it. Launch successful. Bob Bacon, Doug Hurley, the first two American astronauts to take off from U.S. soil in almost a decade. I have chills right now. We want to bring in meteorologist Chris Warren. We've got Dr. Paul Sutter, an astrophysicist. It looks like everything is going along as planned. The first and second stages have separated right now. Second stage engine starting up, and we're getting ready for the first stage entry burn. What is your reaction, Dr. Sutter?
Yeah, chills is the perfect word. When they started the engine chill down, I felt like my insides, my heart was chilling along with it. To see it light up, to see it go, to see it appear absolutely flawless and smooth. The stage one and then the separation stage two, the most dangerous, the most critical part of the mission, the liftoff happened, and they're in space.
Nominal trajectory.
And so far, we're doing it.
I wasn't so sure this was going to happen today. So this is exciting. It's very encouraging. What's the next step?
So the next step is going to be orbiting the Earth as they catch up with the International Space Station in its orbit. And then finally, a very delicate zero-gravity dance as they dock together.
And that's all supposed to be happening autonomously now.
Absolutely. The astronauts are just aboard for the ride. Computers, software are all handling this mission. They're there in case something goes wrong. But SpaceX has already launched multiple missions to the International Space Station with only cargo, and those were fully robotic.
All right. Talk to us a little bit about how technology has changed over the years.
One of the common quips is that we sent the astronauts to the moon. The actual computer hardware that they had in their spacecraft is outmatched by a pocket calculator today. Like the amount of computing power in your smartphone is more than all the computing power we had throughout the entire 1960s. And so now here we are in 2020, where there's no human involvement, there's no human interaction. These orbits, these trajectories, these launches are very, very tricky, very precise things. But this is exactly what computers are good at, especially if they have really powerful computers with lots of sensors and lots of connections to satellites and ground stations and telemetry and everything. So the ability to turn the actual operation of this mission and future missions over to largely to autonomous computers is a major windfall. It's a major gain because it's just one more thing that makes it easier to get to space.
Yeah, NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine compared this to like flying an iPhone or flying a Tesla, that everything is touchscreen and everything is computer. And it's somewhat similar, I suppose, in a way to flying just a regular jet, an airliner, that everything is now automatic, but the pilots still have the capability, if they need to maneuver things on their own. And that's one of the things they're going to be testing and watching, I know, on this mission.
Yes, that's exactly right. We are constantly testing. I believe the astronauts will be taking over sometimes to just test that transition from automated robotics to human control and back to make sure that works. But yeah, hand it to SpaceX. The design of the capsule, the design of the spacesuits, the interior of the cockpit, everything, it looks like the future is here.
So it looks like we're past the 7-minute stage now, and we should be seeing that first stage entry burn that's been taking place. And just after about 8 minutes or so, the second stage engine cutoff should begin. How long is this trip to the International Space Station?
The whole trip, even though this launch sequence is only a dozen minutes long or so, once they're in orbit, it's going to take hours, about 19 hours before they finally catch up with the International Space Station.
That is a long ride. I don't imagine there'll be any sleep taking place along that 19-hour trip.
Maybe there'll be a nap here and there, but I suppose if you're in orbit, there's a few other things to keep you busy and entertained.
And how long does the docking process take?
Really, the docking process has started already. The entire launch of this mission, why there was such a narrow window for the launch, was to enable it to catch up to the ISS. If we push the launch back by just a few minutes, they would never reach the International Space Station with their orbit with the
nominal orbital insertion.
So that's why the launch windows were so very, very narrow. But the whole mission was designed from literally the ground up to catch up with the International Space Station over the next 19 hours. There'll be little tweaks and twists as they get closer and closer. The actual docking procedure will take about an hour.
And once they've been docked, they can't board right away.
No, absolutely not. So there's going to be some checks to make sure you're taking one thing that just left the Earth with something that's been in space for a long time. They're going to connect. There are going to be more than one test to make sure that docking is secure, make sure everything is secure before they actually open the hatch and shake hands.
All right, we already have one American aboard the International Space Station. So Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley will be joining them on this mission. And it's unknown how long they're going to be up there. They're saying anywhere between 1 month and 4 months. And what will be taking place during that time?
Right. So the astronauts on board the International Space Station do a variety of things. Their primary mission is to run the science experiments that are on board. These are experiments, everything from biology to seeing how seeds and plants and living creatures grow and evolve in zero gravity, to testing experiments on themselves, on how the human body reacts to zero gravity. There are astrophysics experiments looking for micrometeoroids and cosmic rays on board this space station. There's almost every branch of science is somehow represented on the space station.
Just incredible. We've got 45 seconds before we have to hit a break. I hear that science experiments could go up 300% just because we are sending them now from U.S. soil and the capabilities that this is going to be opening up. So stay with us, Dr. Sutter, through the commercial break. You're looking right now at video that took place just moments ago where the Falcon 9 rocket lifted off the Crew Dragon capsule into space. Weather conditions clear just in time. There were showers and thunderstorms in the vicinity. Those faded out and moved off, and we were able to have a successful launch today.
Tremfya helps adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis uncover clearer skin that can last. In fact, Tremfya was proven superior to Humira in providing significantly clearer skin.
Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, or if you had a vaccine or plan to. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
Tremfya. Uncover clearer skin that can last. Janssen can help you explore cost support options.
And we've upgraded her with the sonic shield and holographic mapping drones.
Impressive.
There is one more thing.
Jake from State Farm.
Here's the deal. With the Drive Safe and Save app, you'll save up to 30% for being a safe driver and get a discount just for signing up.
Well played, Jake from State Farm. As usual.
When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
In this world where people are staying at home, many of life's moments are being put on hold. At Carvana, we understand that for some, getting a car just can't wait. That's why the new way to buy and sell a car is also the safer way. At Carvana, you can do it all 100% online from home, with a touchless delivery and pickup process to keep you safe. And for even greater peace of mind, all Carvana cars come with a 7-day return policy. So if you need to keep moving, it's our goal to keep you safe. Check out Carvana, the safer way to buy a car.
Add some resistance. Sarah, your Movie Plus trial is about to expire. Do you want to continue or cancel?
Capital One knows life doesn't update you about your credit card. So meet Eno, the Capital One assistant that looks out for charges that might surprise you and helps you fix them. Another way Capital One is watching out for your money when you're not. What's in your wallet?
Frito-Lay Variety Packs presents totally unrealistic, never gonna happen in a million years mom fantasies.
Mother, thank you for planning such an enriching camping trip for us.
Please accept this as a token of our appreciation.
Now let us sing to you.
This'll never happen, but this might.
There's like no reception.
I got cheered tent. Ew, bugs!
Dibs on the Fritos!
Frito-Lay Variety Packs, packed with possibilities.
If spending more time with your floor has been hard on your floor, change it with the Home Depot. Order online, get it delivered, and install it yourself. Save on top flooring brands like Lifeproof and Pergo on HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Our Hillshire Farm craftsmen start the day slow roasting turkey for incredible flavor. Then they double seal every slice for freshness. The results? Well, they speak for themselves.
Coming up tonight on the Weather Channel at 8, don't miss Heavy Rescue. And at 9, Deadline to Disaster. Then at 10, World's Deadliest Weather.
3 to Eastern Time because it.
You are looking at what just happened moments ago at 3:22 p.m. Eastern Time. For the first time in nearly a decade, we had American astronauts lifting off from American soil into space. They are on the way to the International Space Station. It's a ride that's going to take them about 19 hours to get there. They will rendezvous. They will dock with the International Space Station. They will hold and place there for a while and then eventually join one American astronaut and others from other countries on board, and will be performing some space or science experiments for the next couple of months. They'll be there for 1 to 4 months in time. It all just kind of depends on the readiness of the next launch, which is tentatively scheduled for late August right now. So this is history in the making here today. And this isn't just about one launch. This is about the future of the American space program. It's about commercializing space. Of course, SpaceX working with NASA to make this launch happen here today. From home, we've got astronauts Bob Behnken, Doug Hurley, both on board. They are both veteran astronauts that have been to the International Space Station before, but I'm sure a whole new experience for them and quite the rush to watch this happen here today. We want to bring in Dr. Paul Sutter. He is an astrophysicist with Stony Brook University and the Flatiron Institute, and we have been watching history together today. What is your initial reaction to what's been unfolding?
Well, number one, excitement, of course. Then number two is eager anticipation for what will come next. Of what will the next launch be like? What will the next dozen launches be like? What will the next 100 launches over the next few years look like? And what will it bring and what will change?
This is all accelerated pretty quickly. I mean, technology has changed a lot. In fact, we were interviewing astronaut Colonel Terry Verse earlier, and I asked him, did he expect this to happen so soon? And his response was no. He thought this would happen. He just didn't think it would happen this quickly.
Yeah, that's a good perspective because this highlights the power of the public-private partnership that NASA has set up over the past decade of, yes, they're going to continue their mission of designing rockets and capsules, the Artemis project sending people to the moon. But in parallel to that, they want more capabilities. They want more options. They want more flexibility. So they reached out to the private sector to do this, to create solutions, to create rockets and capsules where NASA could just buy space and rent space for some astronauts. And the drive of these private companies like SpaceX, the ambition, the single-minded vision has enabled them to work out all the kinks of reusable rocket technology and deliver today's launch.
Why is it so important that we do this at home as opposed to in Russia, where we have been doing it the last number of years?
Right. The past 9 years, we've been renting space on Soyuz rockets, which launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. And that's an okay solution. There's nothing wrong with that, except every time we go, the price goes up a little bit more than last time. And the Soyuz spacecraft has a very long and storied history. These are designs going back to the 1960s. But over the past few years, there have started to be more and more safety problems, safety questions. One launch earlier this year had to be aborted. The astronauts were able to eject and return to Earth safely, but the entire rocket blew up in the process. Mm-hmm. So it's safety concerns, it's access concerns, it's reliability concerns, it's flexibility concerns. The more we can just do it ourselves, and the more partners we have, and the more people who are able to send humans into space, the better for everyone.
For everyone. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Paul Sutter. We want to listen in now, NASA Administrator addressing everyone.
Amazing individuals that deal with space day in and day out. A lot of people don't realize how many parts of the federal government deal with space. And the Vice President invited those members of the National Space Council here as well. So we just had, and then we had members of Congress, bipartisan members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, who have been involved in supporting this program, for a long time now. So I'll just tell you, I'm breathing a sigh of relief. But I will also tell you, I am not going to celebrate until Bob and Doug are home safely. Tomorrow, they're going to dock to the International Space Station. Tonight, I'm heading to Houston to be at the Johnson Space Center when that happens. So it's a bit of a relief. The nose cone is now open. It's now deployed, which means that now we're going to go into some burns. We're going to have some phasing burns. We're going to have some boosting burns, and we're going to get as much as we can in alignment with the International Space Station as early as possible here. But also, I know it's hard, but the big thing that we need to do now is we got to get.
I'm Jimmy Dean, and I wish I could tell you how I feel about a morning like this. And that includes a good hearty breakfast. You need something to kind of warm the whole body up and get it going. It's a great way to kick off your day.
They are the heroes, the helpers, working on the front lines. And here's one small way that you can help them in return. Complete your 2020 census today. 2020 census data helps communities plan funding for hospitals, clinics, and emergency services across the country. An accurate count helps public health officials know who is at risk, and first responders identify the resources they need to protect our communities. Complete your census at 2020census.gov and help shape our future.
Hello there. Do we go crunchy cool or golden classic? I know. One for me and one for you. Now that's a sandwich. Gotta have Lay's.
We're open and ready to help your small business any way we can. Every ink for small business. And of course, shipping. TheUPSStore.com.
It's best we stay apart for a bit, but you're not alone. We're automatically refunding our customers a portion of their personal auto premiums. Learn more at libertymutual.com/COVID-19.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough. 10 years in the making that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina ProPlan Live Clear.
When it comes to longevity, who has the highest percentage of its vehicles still on the road today? Subaru. When it comes to best overall value, who does IntelliChoice rank #1? Subaru. And when it comes to safety, who has more 2020 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus winning vehicles? More than Toyota, Honda, and Hyundai combined? Subaru. It's easy to love a car you can trust. It's easy to love a Subaru.
Get 0% APR financing for 63 months on select Subaru models, now through June.
With Spectrum Mobile, what you see is what you get.
That means no added taxes or fees. Get an unlimited data plan for just $45 a month per line. That includes unlimited talk and text, too. You can save up to 40% on your mobile bill, and there are no contracts. Experience the fastest overall speeds and the most reliable mobile service coast to coast with Spectrum Mobile. Learn more at spectrummobile.com.
Yes, the first word to any adventure. But when allergies and congestion strike, take Allegra D, a non-drowsy antihistamine plus a powerful decongestant. So you can always say yes to putting your true colors on display. Say yes to Allegra D.
Hola, Miami. Local Now is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago.
To get you through life's new normal.
Hey, America.
Trust me, you're going to love this. Come on.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
But kind of near average all around.
This is the place to be.
Something for everyone. Local Now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
Currently in our area, 82 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 58. Winds northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Sunday, sunny skies, high 70. Winds north-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Sunday night, clear skies, low 52. Winds north-northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
You're watching the Weather Channel, and we all just watched history. Here on the Space Coast in Florida, we watched a private rocket with government astronauts, NASA astronauts, going into outer space. We watched it here live on the Weather Channel, and as it went off from where we are 8 miles away from the launch site, it was silent. You see the smoke, you see the fire. A minute later, it was about a minute later before we heard it where we are here. And one thing that really stood out to me as I was watching this live and looking at it, and we're, again, about, it's way across the water over there, 8 miles away or so. As we were looking at this, it was a small piece of fire coming out of the rocket, but for its size, how bright it was like looking at a piece of the sun. It was almost like burning your eye. I mean, it was as far away as it was, and as small as it was, that little piece of fire going up, that really was not expecting that. You expect there's certain things you can see on television and you can see pictures of, but there's certain things you can only perceive in real life. It's the sound, the feeling of the sound, the vibrations, but really, and I was prepared for that, but I wasn't really prepared to see, Jackie, just how bright that little piece of fire was going up. And then at one point I was thinking, that's probably about 3,000 feet right there when we started to see the condensation trail out of it. So essentially creating a little cloud as it went up into a cloud from an old storm. So we did lose a little bit of a vantage point on it. It was a little bit shorter lived, I think, than a lot of people based on where we were because of some of the showers. But boy, Jackie, did we get lucky hitting that weather window. And you think about earlier today, we were talking about, well, it doesn't look that great. Should they even try? And you know what? Sometimes you get lucky.
Right. I admit I was a little skeptical earlier today, but things did clear out just in time. Typical Florida weather, for sure. Was this your first launch that you've seen in person, Chris?
Uh-huh.
Fascinating.
Yep.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was really, really, really neat experience. And it's just the energy, too, of being here and how excited everybody is about it. And then to see it And you kind of step back as you're watching it and just thinking, there's 2 people on there. You know, this is leaving Earth. And everything that goes into making this happen, it's overwhelming. It's very, very, very special experience, no doubt about that.
Well, the astronauts that are bound for the International Space Station right now, last year we got to talk with astronaut Tracy Caldwell Dyson about what an eye-opening experience that is.
I can't imagine anybody that was looking out that window could have so little regard for this planet. It does look a little fragile. And then you look out in the blackness of space and how it goes on for infinity. You're like, how does this exist right here? This is special. You look at the Earth and you don't see countries, you just see Earth. I would hope that anybody going up there to see our planet from that viewpoint would feel a little bit of that and bring it back with them. We're all striving to make space accessible to more than just NASA and its astronauts. So I believe more people will see this gift that we've been given. That fraction that gets to see it is going to grow. I believe so.
All right, we've got about a minute 30 left in our show. Dr. Paul Sutter, any last words and thoughts about today's groundbreaking history?
Yeah, this is definitely a turning point in the history of space flight. Like that interview said, more and more people over the years are going to get to see Earth from space, and what they bring back will have ramifications for generations to come.
All right, Dr. Paul Sutter, astrophysicist with Stony Brook University and the Flatiron Institute. Great perspective. Thanks for staying with us today throughout the launch. We also want to thank former astronauts Colonel Terry Virts and Rex Walheim for joining us today. We had Kathy Lewis from the National Air and Space Museum helping to share some of the space travel milestones with you over these past few hours. We talked about the spacesuits that were also just kind of on the cutting edge. They were actually designed by a Hollywood designer. So behalf on Chris Warren and myself and the Weather Channel team, we've got Matt Reagan and Erica Lopez. We want to leave you looking at today's launch, where the first ever crewed launch into space by a private company happened here in the United States.
Propulsion is nominal.
What getting fueled with one protein feels like.
What getting fueled with 3 energy-packed proteins feels like. Meat, cheese, and nuts. P3, because 3 is better than 1.
Hello there. Do we go crunchy cool or golden classic? I know. One for me and one for you. Now that's a sandwich. Gotta have Lay's.
For every staircase supporting a grand entrance, door frames marking milestones, and floors kissed by bare feet, protect the pure joy of home with Terminix. We're committed to keeping termites out of your home with our all-new On Guard termite protection system, always backed by the Terminix promise to keep your home strong enough for all the love it holds. Call 1-800-TERMINIX today.
At Domino's, we think it's important to look on the bright side right now.
I finally got some toilet paper on Monday.
Almost every night, me and my family have had dinner together, which we haven't done in years.
You know, enjoying the fam with the little guy.
I really like that I can wear yoga pants every day.
And you can still get specialty chicken, stuffed cheesy bread, medium 2-topping pizzas, or any 2 or more mix and match items for just $5.99 each. So that's something else to be glad about.
I'm just glad I don't have to share with you guys.
That's the spirit.
You're ready to drive again, and not just to the neighborhood store. In a new Honda, you can enjoy the open road with powerful performance. And your money can go farther too, because Honda holds its value better than any other auto brand. Your Honda dealer is offering flexibility, like shopping online, so you can purchase with confidence. Get your new Honda today. KBB.com's 2020 Best Value Brand.
Local Now is here for you.
Hi, New York. Hey, LA. Chicago. Hey, America.
2 tablespoons of sugar.
Something for everyone. Local Now. Download for free in your favorite app store.
ProPlan Live Clear, a breakthrough 10 years in the making that reduces allergens in cat hair and dander. Outstanding nutrition with the power to change lives. This is Purina ProPlan Live Clear.
Yeah, I'm married. Doesn't matter. You do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm. Sounds like a really good deal.
Jake from State Farm at 3 in the morning? Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Khakis? Hey, do they ever ask you what you're wearing?
Yeah.
Red sweater, button-down shirt. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
These are extraordinary times, and we want to thank the extraordinary people in the healthcare community working to care for all of us. At Novartis, we promise to do our part. As always, we're doing everything we can to help keep Cosentyx accessible and affordable. If you have any questions at all, call us, email us, visit us online. We are here to help support you when you need us. Take care and be well. To learn more, call 1-844-COSENTYX or visit Cosentyx.com.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris. After watching our historic launch into space today, we are tracking weather conditions across the country right now as well. And we do have the threat for severe storms across parts of the Pacific Northwest. In fact, notice a dark red area indicating the likely area where we could have severe storms, including the risk of some tornadoes. The active radar is showing some warnings across parts of Oregon right now. In addition, we have a severe thunderstorm watch that will stay in effect until 7 o'clock local time for tonight. Storms right now are producing some hail as well as some strong damaging winds, and these storms are also producing a lot of lightning. So Klamath, you're under a warning until 1:15. We also will see this storm track eastward into tomorrow with the threat of severe thunderstorms across the northern high plains from the western Dakotas into parts of Colorado, including Denver.
It's every traveler's greatest nightmare, and it's happening right in the middle of the ocean.
Everything just flashed. I thought that this was gonna be it.
One wrong move on this mountain could have you teetering on the edge of your last breath.
Once it started to rain, which turned into the flurry of snow, I lost it.